Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about dealing with bad food choices. And yes, I said bad food choices. Now, there's no good and bad technically, but if you have a goal of losing weight and having a certain level of health, there's absolutely goals that are going to move you towards that and ones that don't move you away. So again, you're not a good or bad person based on what you eat, but there are choices that are going to move you forward and backwards away from your goals. So that being said, how do you deal with situations when you choose the wrong food or you overeat too much of it? Because this is going to happen. This is part of the process of mastering your weight, obviously, is getting better at making food choices. And if we take a step back from this and stop looking at weight loss as being a willpower first process, where it really comes up to you constantly making yourself make the right choice, we take a step back and realize it's more about teaching yourself, training yourself, reinforcing, practicing, making better food choices in different situations and different moods. Then we reframe the whole process. Because usually when you're making the bad food choice, at that moment, it's the best choice you have available to you, meaning you might be in a terrible mood and eating that food is going to make you feel a little bit better. And so between those two consequences of gaining weight somewhere in the future and feeling better immediately, you're usually going to choose that one. So it's not that you're a bad person because you chose the wrong food. It's that in that situation, you didn't have a better option than the food available to you, is how it goes down a lot of times. So when we look at our food choices, and sometimes we make good ones, sometimes we make the bad ones, we want to start to realize that it's a process of working with ourselves, training ourselves, learning from our mistakes so that we can make better food choices moving forward. Because if we just look at this as a willpower thing, this is how you get yourself in the position where you're doing great with your food, and then all of a sudden you make one unhealthy food choice and now it feels like I blew it all. You did not blow it all. Okay. This is a process where you're going to make some good choices, some bad choices. It's always going to be that way. You never long-term are going to always make great food choices. There's no eating perfect forever. It doesn't exist. And so we want to expect and understand that we're going to make the unhealthy, wrong food choice sometimes. But when we do, instead of beating ourselves up about it and getting mad at ourselves, we're going to take a step back and we're going to look at it and we're going to understand what the hell happened there. What was going on? Where was my hunger level at? Where were my emotions at? Where was my head at? Was this just a routine that I typically do on Friday nights? We want to start to understand the situation so that we can resolve it next time. Not just so that we can fight against ourselves and stop ourselves, but so that we can genuinely resolve it. And let me show you a couple specific ways this can show up and why it's so helpful. One of the most common reasons people make an unhealthy food choice is because they're really, really hungry. And they're really, really hungry because they've been trying to lose weight and they're trying to eat as little as possible. So that by the time the afternoon or evening comes, they're starving and now they can't control their eating. And so they make the bad food choice. So again, in this situation, the answer is not to never eat. The answer is, how can I nourish myself better during the day so that when the evening comes, I'm much more satisfied and in a physical, mental, emotional space to make the healthier food choice. Okay. That's a resolution. The next one is emotional eating. You know, you get really upset, right? You get in a fight with your partner, your boss yells at you and you're feeling really upset and stressed out and you go and make a bad food choice. And so in this situation, the answer is not to just don't eat bad food. The answer is, how do I deal with the emotional level? How do I relieve the stress? How do I calm down, recenter myself? You see? And so a lot of times, if you start to look at your weight loss as an opportunity to evolve and get better personal development wise, you start gaining new abilities, skills, options to use in those scenarios when you need them most. And right now, you most likely do not have those solutions. And you don't have those solutions because you always think it's a willpower game. It is not. It's about learning better strategies and then working on implementing and reinforcing those strategies so they start to run on autopilot. So I hope all of this helps you out, because the worst thing can happen is you make a choice and you beat yourself up and get completely off track. Start to be able to weather and absorb some of the mistakes you make in a much more effective way, and you're absolutely going to transform your ability to weigh what you want to weigh. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. And get my stuff set up. There we go. All right. I hope everyone's having a good day. We got a Monday here, start of a new week. Hope everyone's having a nice time. I'm getting hot. It's muggy where I am. So I'm going to, there we go, set the air conditioner up. All right. Let's see here. What's up, Jody? How's it going, Jody? I see you there. Liking the live. Don't be bashful about liking the live either, folks. You can like this live. Hit the old like button. It helps TikTok send it to more people, I guess. Is that true? I've gotten better. I've stopped talking about drugs, so they've stopped restricting me. So that's been good. But more likes always help too. So yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. Where are we at? Where's a weird time? I will tell you, like it's always funny. I'm such a big fan of cultural momentums, I guess is how I would put them, that happen different times of the year. And so I get a firsthand kind of look at this because I get to see, when people, sign up for free hypnosis sessions, when people join programs and all the rest of it. And it seems the end of August is kind of like this. It's almost like the week after Christmas. It's a little bit like that because I think it's like we're kind of coming out of summer a bit, getting ready for the fall, and it's a transitional time for a lot of people. Thanks, Jody. And Jody, I was going to send this email out, but I know, the Thrive program, those Monday classes have kind of fallen away a little bit, but it's going to be a couple of weeks without doing those. You probably won't have seen this, but in September, I'm actually kicking off a boot camp. And so you'll have access to the Monday calls anyways, but the Monday calls will become regular, but probably starting in September because I got a crazy couple of weeks here with my daughter getting ready to go to college and my son's starting school. I can't forget that guy either. So it's kind of crazy times, but so there'll be no classes this week or next week. But maybe the week after, because that's a holiday though, isn't it? Is that Labor Day? Geez, time is flying here. So yeah. So anyways, Lemmy Floppity. I like that name. Some people have the best usernames ever in the history of the world. Yeah. So, hey, the eating, I tell you, talk about bad food choices, and it's not so much. Oh, look at Jody. My daughter goes back to it. I'm sort of looking forward to it. That's hilarious that you say that. I guess, I think I've been thinking about it a lot, but I think a lot is the initial, I feel like I'm happy to go to school and she's not even far away. It's none of that stuff. I think for me, it's felt more like the ending of a phase. I think about this all the time. I say this to you guys because I think I'm a big believer. I'm not going down this path because I don't want to. I don't get all depressing and stuff. But I feel like mortality issues are behind so much emotion and in sneaky ways. So I can tell you firsthand. I know for a fact for me that my daughter going to school. I'm excited for it all, but it's 18 years of being a parent with having her there and the family there as a unit. It's that ending is more kind of playing on my head. But I think this comes up all the time. It could be a pet dying. It could be a kid leaving for school. It could be a kid getting married. It could be a baby coming into the world. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that can trigger these deeper, emotional responses. And I think sometimes we don't recognize that. And then we wonder, why we get so upset about something? It isn't that big of a deal, but it is a big deal in the back of our minds, the way we think about it. So JK says AMA cautions about eating too much tuna salad because of mercury. Is wild cut tuna any different? No, I mean, as far as I know, all tuna is wild caught. I don't think there is no farm tuna as far as I'm aware of. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, here's the thing with the fish is that the bigger the fish is, the more mercury it tends to aggregate, I suppose. Swordfish, tuna, these, are bigger fish. And so the bigger the fish, the more likely there's higher levels of mercury. Now, I don't know if that's always the fact, but in general, that's true. So, yeah. So wild caught, like I said, I think all tuna is wild caught. I've never heard of a farm tuna. I don't know if you could do that because from my understanding of tuna is they need to swim a lot. And so I don't know if you'd be able to farm a tuna or not. But I think the answer anyways, I can only tell you myself and I, take it or leave it. But I personally don't eat a lot of, I really don't eat, I am a pescatarian, but most of the pescatarian I'm eating these days is clams. I eat clams every week usually. And I'll have fish. Probably it seems like fish is showing up maybe once every other week or so. And the fish I tend to rely on is wild caught salmon, Alaska caught wild caught salmon, sockeye salmon specifically. That's kind of my go-to fish. And then from there, I tend to choose smaller fishes, whether it be a haddock or cod. I'm under the impression those are smaller fishes. I could be wrong on those. I'm not a fish expert, but then occasionally I'll eat some shrimp, which I know that isn't the greatest. That's farm too. That's probably one of the worst things I eat dirty wise. But anyways, yeah, that's some thoughts there. But I think, yeah, with tuna, I don't know. That is not something I would be eating a ton of. But, take it from what it is. Still presto. So I like your sessions. It's very inspiring. Well, super. That's what I do them for. No, that's why I'm here, is to inspire you guys and enlighten you, hopefully. Just to at least give you a different perspective on a well-worn topic. It usually always sounds the same, good Lord. Weight loss, I find just so crazy in this culture where it's just like you hear the same dumb shit exclusively. There's no alternatives to weight loss, right? There's stupid diets, there's surgery, and there's medicine. And the diets, it's just people work themselves into a state of complete and total confusion because every week there's another diet philosophy, or food you can eat or not eat or whatever. And I think it keeps people in this perpetual state of confusion where when you're confused, you don't do anything. I tend to think it's kind of intentional, but anyway, so I like to get out there and kind of lay some foundational groundwork down that never changes. Because I'll tell you, what I'm talking about is the same exact shit I've been talking about for 30 years. 30 years I've been studying this. People that successfully lose weight and keep it off, it's the same thing for 30 years. Some of the things may change in terms of diet philosophy in a sense, you know what I mean? Like what they're going to eat, how they're structuring things. So some people now are doing more intermittent fasting as type things, or more aware of carbs than they were 30 years ago. But that shit really doesn't matter. That's what I try to tell you guys. When you're a dieter, all you're thinking about is basically what's written down on paper, meaning your meal plan, your macronutrient manipulation, how you're going to behave, and so it's this relatively, I don't want to say complex, but overwhelming plan of what you're going to do. Right. And again, it could show up as I'm going to cut down to 1,200 calories tomorrow. Because today's Monday. I would love to know if anyone's starting a diet today. Let me know what diet you're starting. And then if you want, let me know how many times you've tried starting it before, again, not to be a jerk, but when it comes to dieting and weight loss in this culture, we've been hypnotized by the diet industry. And so again, my goal is to get out here and kind of wake you guys up and give you something firm to build on, and that really, it's a more mindset focused strategy is what I think works better. There's certainly eating pieces of it as well, no doubt about it. I learned from all the main diets. I think they all have something to teach. They're all built upon a seed of truth, most of them. The problem is they take that one little seed of truth and make it the entire story. And I don't think so, So I don't think intermittent fasting by itself, keto by itself, 1,200 calories by itself, Weight Watchers by itself, I don't think anything's going to work long term. I haven't seen it, So I get out here talking, I always say the big distinction from what you're hearing from me and what you typically hear with weight loss is that most weight loss subconsciously is really fixated and focused on getting to your goal weight. The whole goal is how fast can I get to my goal weight? Whereas I'm much more focused on how long can you live at your goal weight? How long can you live there? Right? That's what I want to know about. And I think once you make that shift in focus, it changes everything, because the worst way to live at your goal weight is probably do some extreme, overwhelming thing that you hate. And yet that's pretty much exclusively what you do to try and lose weight. So yeah, once you see that, it kind of reveals the trick of diets, and hopefully that begins you to resolving it and figuring out what works for you so that you can live at your goal weight for the rest of your life, not just get there for a couple days or weeks. What's up, KT? Got an email? Oh, no, KT, I got your message, your email, and I was going to respond to you today. Had a busy weekend, but I'll respond to you now. It says, got an email on the Bootcamp. Unsure if I should join regular program or wait for Bootcamp. What is the difference? Yes. Okay. So for those of you that, and for anyone that haven't, I'm going to be doing a Bootcamp. This is something I've wanted to do for so long, and I feel so excited to do it now. Now I want to make crystal clear, this is a high-end coaching program. So I want to make that crystal clear. I think I've mentioned this, that to work with me privately, it's 25 grand. I know that's out of reach for most people. I know that, which is why I did the group coaching program, which was $1,000 at one point. That's going up too, just because I'm starting to advertise and I need to limit it. I keep it small so I can work with you individually. So what's the difference between the coaching version and the boot camp? The boot camp is just a lot of me. It's a lot of me. It's an immersion program. It's an intensive program. The boot camp is 4 months. And so it kicks off September 1st and goes until the end of the year. And during that time, you will have access to me 4 days a week. We will have a live class on Monday. We will have coaching calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we will have a boot camp specific coaching call on Wednesdays where we're going to go through your blueprints. So I am literally going to work with you directly to help you design and finish and implement your blueprints. So it's a real deep level of working with me that'll be coming out. So I'll send you a little bit more information. The wait list is starting now. So if anyone wants to get in on, I guess you can email me right now. I got to set up a page where if you want to, but if you're on my email list already, well, that's what to do. Get on my email list because I'll send out for the next couple of days. You can get on the wait list if you want to get, make sure you get in there because I haven't decided exactly how many people I'm going to do. I'm still thinking on that one, but it's going to be very, very limited. It's a very small group. It's a cohort. So we go through the 4 months all together and you get a lot of interaction with me, which I have found to be the most effective thing. Honestly, even the people that pay me 25 grand, that's a session every week, like an hour and a half. It's an intensive session for sure. But I've been testing over the last 2 years here, more frequent group sessions. And that in its own way, maybe even better. I don't know. But it's definitely up there. And so the people that are showing up consistently for things are really getting the best results. Surprise, surprise, right? So this program that I put together is really built on frequency. And that's why I'm so excited because I've never offered a program where you can get a hold of me like intensely 4 days a week. And the beauty of that is that, again, it's an immersion program. This is how we learn best. And what it does, it literally prevents you from getting off track. Like you'll make mistakes, but making mistakes and getting off track are two totally different things. So to have me there constantly keeping you on track for 4 months while we really, get through all the barriers, mental, emotional barriers you have to filling out your blueprints and figuring out exactly what works for you. Super excited for it. And I got a bunch of cool bonuses and stuff to go with it. So like I said, if you're on the wait list, I'll be sending you information about that this week. And registration for that will start this week for the people that are on the early bird thing. So you'll get all that. And if you choose to join on the early bird list, you should be able to get in there. So again, KT, give me a couple of days and I'll give you all the information you need about the program. And then you can make your decision. How you want to go there. Let me see here. Satan says, I'm not starting a diet, just going to eat only vegetables. Well, that's not true. You're not going to eat only vegetables for long. So, it's so funny. People will say things and it's like, just because you can think or write something down doesn't mean you're going to do it. I made a video the other day talking about the more granular details of mastering your weight. And someone wrote, I could just cut my food down in half and lose weight. And it's like, no, you fucking can't. Yeah, you could for a little while and then you won't. It's like, stop saying shit like that, folks. You've got to realize a plan that looks good on paper versus a plan that looks good in real life. Cut the shit. You know what I mean? Just because you can say, I'll just stop eating carbs doesn't mean you're going to stop eating carbs forever. Those are two completely different things. So Satan can just eat vegetables, but I doubt it. You can't just completely change yourself in one day. Typically, very, very rare. So not to be negative, Satan, but I doubt it. Paul says, so thanks to you, after having a busy and unstructured weekend, I don't know what that means. I didn't see the last part of that, Paula. Being tired affects my eating even more than I thought it did. Not sleeping well affected my choices for sure. Yeah, super. And it's again, Paula, I say this all the time, and now you'll get it because you're in the program here, is that it's not making a mistake's not the end of the world. God, it's like dieters are the fastest to quit. I think dieters are the fastest people to quit out of anyone on the planet of anything. They quit so fast. And it's because you go into it thinking you've got to be perfect to get to the goal, and so you make a mistake and you never learn from it. You never grow from it because you just quit from it. And so again, Paula here went through it and I couldn't see the end of that first part, but I'm assuming having a busy and structured weekend, she overate, probably is what I'm guessing. That's what happens typically. And so, who gives a shit though? But you, because now Paula uses as an opportunity to reinforce, oh my God, when I am tired, I really do, that does affect my eating. And again, that goes back to the golden rule here is that awareness precedes change. Awareness precedes change. Now, you dieters think you're aware of everything, but you're not. I can't stress this enough. And you think like when you make a bad food choice, it's because you're like a bad person who was a bad person at that moment. It's not that. It's just that you weren't ready to handle that situation in a better way. You don't have the strategies and solutions available to you that you need. And you need to learn them. You need to figure them out if you're ever going to succeed. It's not just a willpower game, you know? I just think it is. So Paul will reinforce that. And even if it's reinforcement too, by the way, so it's not always just learning stuff. Sometimes it's reinforcing things you already knew, and sometimes it's learning things too. But so much of the process of change is reinforcing things. So we start thinking differently, Blau says the best thing about insomnia is I get to see you live, Jim. Hi from Australia. That's funny. That's a good way to put it, right? So, yeah, I know insomnia sucks, right? So I actually have a program called Sleep at Will. I got a bunch of cool stuff. So I will say too, and I want to make this crystal clear because I there's no question the boot camp it's a bigger investment and it's not going to be a fit for a lot of people. And I understand that. And I am extremely sensitive to finances and helping people out. This is literally why I do this stuff all day for free. And I give stuff away for free all the time. But even after the boot camp, what I have coming is I have other low priced options, $100, $20 a month. So I got really exciting things coming up that if you choose, you want to invest in your weight, but you can't do it at a higher level. I got you covered, guys. So I just want you to know that. And in addition to the weight loss programs I have and the weight mastery programs, I also have some personal development programs, one of them being Sleep at Will. And all those are going to be available as well in the future. But not that I don't want you watching me, but I'd rather you be sleeping and getting some rest. Armin says, I need my brain to stop me to eat carbs and sweets. Yeah, well, here's the thing though. Okay, this is a perfect example. You don't need your brain to stop you. You need your brain to stop creating the cravings to eat it. Does that make sense? I go back, I use this example a lot because I think it's so elegant, but if you're listening to this right now and you're a non-smoker, you don't smoke cigarettes, you're not a non-smoker because you're fighting off cravings all day long, right? You're not a non-smoker because you've gotten your brain to stop you from smoking cigarettes when you want them. You've gotten your brain to stop smoking cigarettes because the way you think about them, there is no craving desire for them. Do you see that difference, right? The first one requires like, oh, I need willpower all the time to stop myself. And the second one is the way I think about them, I don't have any cravings for it. And so when it comes to weight loss, you have been conditioned to focus exclusively on willpower to stop your cravings. But what you don't realize is the way your mind's already programmed, it's generating all the cravings constantly. It's kind of like you're driving a car and you want to stop the car, but you've got your foot pinned down on the gas. And so now you're trying to step on the brake really extra hard. That's what your weight loss is like metaphorically. You got one foot pressed all the way down on the gas. That's your mindset generating all the cravings for the food. And then you got this other part of you trying to stop yourself from giving into all those cravings. Oh, fucking miserable. It's miserable for you. I know this. So you don't need your brain to stop you from eating the carbs and the sweets. You need your brain to start generating indifference to carbs and sweets, desire and craving for healthier foods. I hope that makes sense. It sounds like a subtle thing, but it's the whole thing. It's there's a lot in that. A lot. What's up, Julie? Julie from Massachusetts. Julie says, I'm trying to cut processed foods. I stocked up on fruit and vegetables. There you go. Okay. That's super. And I always say this, I just got to do it. I can't help it. But watch out for the word try. All right. Try implies failure. Right. We can say I'm going to try and do something, then do it. So I'm not saying it guarantees failure. I'm saying it implies it. Try again. If I told you, I tried to close the door, right? Is that door open or closed? It's open. You tried to close it, didn't work. So watch out for that word try because it just makes us less congruent, less powerful when we use words like that. So if you went and stocked up on fruit and vegetables, I'd say I'm cutting down processed foods. I already got my healthier foods. I'm going to start eating those, I'm going to start changing my diet. This is what I'm talking about too. I don't know what happens. And, my poor wife, my wife, I think, is a hypnotist because she implants suggestions in my head And unfortunately, I need to marinate there if it seems like sometimes for months or years until I hear someone else say it. And then it fully blossoms. But I gave her credit for it. But again, one of the things I was just reading in this book is that I'm reading Food for Life, which I think is a super duper book so far. I just started it, so we'll see how it goes. But so far, it's really, really good. But one of the key points that really hit me right away was the difference between like eating lots of fruit and vegetables and eating lots of different types of fruits and vegetables. And I think he makes a big point in the book of the variety and just how important that piece is. And that, for whatever reason, just kind of hit me this time when I read it. And so for me now, I'm going to another level with my eating, where I'm going to add some smoothies into my diet. Maybe 2, maybe 3 times a week, I will make a smoothie that will have things in it that I don't normally eat. It'll be more fruity type stuff. Probably some kale, because I don't eat a lot of kale. But that will probably put 4 or 5 different types of fruits and potentially nutrients in my body that I'm not getting now. But I say this to you guys because this is, I'm trying to give you a different paradigm of how to approach your eating and ultimately your weight. For me, it's not about like, I know what I got to do and I'm just going to change it all today on Monday. It's Monday, so now I'm going to completely change how I'm eating. I don't think of it that way. I approach my weight, my eating, my lifestyle much more like I approach guitar. And guitar, it's like, you better be fucking patient. I mean, it's like that with any musical instrument. You better be patient because it takes a lot longer than you want it to. And so for me, it's like my guitar playing is much more built around, I want to make sure I'm picking that thing up every day. That's my main goal. And to be honest, I've been in kind of a maintenance mode with guitar for a while. I have moments where I kind of get real into it. I'm studying stuff and doing whatever. But I've found the most important thing is I always have at least a base level of maintenance. So it's the same all or something mindset, but with guitar. And with guitar, what I love so much about it is and again, it's in the hobby level. You know what I mean? Will I ever really take it on another level? I want to, and I hope to, but it remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. And so, but even even the way I do it now, it's really fun because it's like I keep playing it. So I'll learn this here, and then all of a sudden it's like I learned something. I'm like, oh, I realized something, and it's like a new little flip switch. I understand a little. Oh, and it's like I love that. And so it's like that with the eating and the lifestyle piece. That I tell you guys, for me, like I want to eat the way I'm eating. The way I eat right now, I love it, and I want to eat this way for the next 100 years. But at the same time, I also know I'm going to keep improving on it. And it's like, even when I look back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, how I was eating then, how I'm eating now, how I was living then, how I'm living now. It's like, holy shit, it's so much better. And this is the part that really jazzes me up as I look to the future. It's exciting to me to know I have a core level of understanding and mastery, but it just keeps getting better. And that's what I love so much about the guitar. And a lot of other things like that. I mean, drawing, playing basketball, yoga, other instruments, learning a language, dancing, whatever you want to do. It's fun because there's always something for you. You always get better. There's things to learn. And that process of learning something new is so fundamental to being a happy human being, especially when you think about getting older, because some things fall away. You need to replace them and know that you have something in your life that you can always kind of like, it's exciting. It's always kind of new. You're always learning and growing and evolving in different ways. I just think that's such a crucial part of being a happy human. And so anyways, so I'm excited about having the smoothies in. And now me saying that, I'm excited about having the smoothies in. Now I know the next phase is I got to start implementing the routine, and so you might talk to me in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't gotten it yet. And then I'll just, like a dog with a bone, I will stay with that until it's part of my routine. Unless I do, and then it doesn't really feel that great, or it doesn't work for me. But, this is what I try to say to you. It's not me saying, okay, yesterday, oh, now I'm going to start having smoothies. And now here comes Monday. Oh, I forgot to do it. Oh, well, screw it. I'm not like that at all. Do you understand? I always try and share that with you because it's such a different paradigm of how to approach change in general and weight loss specifically, is that you think you know what you got to do and you think you're able to do it just all at once tomorrow. Right? Look at dieters. Think about how many thousands or millions of people today, because it's Monday, are starting their diet. And how are they starting it? They're starting it by completely 100% changing the way that they eat and changing the way they live instantly, all of it. And it's overwhelming. You can't keep it up. And it just reveals a complete and total ignorance of how your mind works. And it's frustrating because dieters are making it so much harder for themselves than it needs to be, which again is why I'm always out here. So yeah. What's up, Mario? Mario says I was craving boiled broccoli yesterday. I surprised myself literally with no sauce or anything. The less artificial food stuff I eat, the more I want the veggies. I love it. Yeah, of course. That's so great, Mario. Super, super happy to hear you say that. Yeah, you're as always so right about this. I really am right about that. And I was thinking that today. I literally just before I came on here, we'd gotten these cookies from the store down the local grocery store. And there's some of the best cookies I've ever had. They're called brownie cookies. And they're kind of like a chocolate chip cookie. And they're just good though. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. They're so good. But we get them occasionally, usually on the weekends, you know, but so there's half a cookie left in the thing and it's on the counter, right? So it's like, of course, you know, I'll take that. But it's funny because I was in here, it was 11 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, a lot of times I will feel kind of hungry. And half the time, right? If I'm focused on my work, I'm doing my work, I don't even notice it. But then if I'm just like kind of hanging out a little bit, I got a little bit of time, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. And when I get that way, usually what I've been doing is I'll rely on some cherry tomatoes, right? We got really good ones. I'll grab some of those, eat a couple of those, start working, it goes away. But today I'm kind of there and I'll see the cookies. So I eat the cookie, I'm eating it. And it's like, it was so interesting because I'm like, okay, it tasted good. It was fine. It wasn't as good as I thought it was. Those cookies are better on a Saturday night when I've had some wine, I'm drinking some coffee, and you know what I mean? I'm kind of pleasure mode activated, right? And they're better then because it depends on the mode too. And so all of a sudden when I eat it on a Monday morning, it was okay. Like it still tasted okay. But then it's like, it's so funny because now I got an apples to apples comparison. I know what it's like to eat half a cookie, you know, at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. And usually what I'm doing is eating a cherry tomato if I'm eating anything at all. And so as the cookie kind of goes, I was like, I don't really like this, you know, not compared to the tomato. The tomato almost like livens me up. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't have the words to explain what I'm feeling. Like, it's such a deep, nonverbal feeling. When you start eating more healthy, natural, whole foods, that's why I say too, by the way, if you silo your eating, right? Meaning, I think a big mistake dieters make is they're very conditional. It's like, okay, I'm not going to eat the unhealthy stuff and I'm going to eat the healthy stuff. But the second they go and eat a bag of chips or a cookie, screw the healthy stuff. That falls away. You need to silo it. So even if you eat some bullshit, you're still going to eat the healthy stuff because the healthy stuff changes you, like literally, right? You heard the saying, you are what you eat, right? It's literal. And so when you start eating whole natural foods, and again, I'm going to start talking about this more. I can't wait to read this. This guy I'm reading, he has another book, and it seems more microbiome based. And I'm loving the microbiome stuff because, again, as I've said, the microbiome really is 10, 15 years old. They really understand it with genetic testing and really understand what the hell's going on. And so it's progressing quickly. And this book here has almost brought my understanding of the microbiome to another level. And I was talking about this the other day that, like, when you eat food, it's almost like you're eating a software program. And natural food exists within a natural food matrix. And that matrix delivers the ingredients in your body differently, right? There's enzymes, there's nutrients, there's the matrix that causes you to absorb the food differently than processed food. And I think there's a lot of information that's departed to your body when you eat something. And I know it might be sounding crazy, but that's why I say if you start putting more whole natural foods into your body, just that alone, I believe whether or not it makes you lose weight, it sets you up absolutely to be more in control of your weight. So yeah, boiled broccoli. Now I'll tell you this though too. Again, great book, Eating on the Wild Side, one of my favorite books, because she really deep dives into vegetables, fruits, and the best way to prepare them. So broccoli, ideally, you want to cook that. You're better off steaming broccoli than you are boiling broccoli, because when you boil broccoli, it leaches more of the nutrients out of it. Okay. And when you steam it, more of the nutrients stay in the broccoli. So again, I'm nitpicking to some degree. Great job, Mario, eating broccoli, period. Okay. And enjoying it. But I'm just saying, again, there's always kind of levels to things. I just kind of put that bug in your ear because I personally prefer steamed broccoli to boiled broccoli. I think it even is tastier. And so I love steamed broccoli. And again, it has a higher nutrient quality too. But great job, Mario. Super proud of you. Super, super proud of you. What's up, Jonathan? How's it going? Been hard for me recently with the diet thing, not the eating part, but how it affects my fiance. Oh, do tell. For some reason, he feels like I don't need to do this and that it's very sad that I want to change. I told you, Jonathan, I tell you this all the time, but I know you wouldn't have thought what I was saying. Listen, folks, when you start eating differently and looking differently, the closest relationships in your life are going to be impacted. I'm not going to say whether it's positive or negative. That's for you to realize, but they're always impacted. And so for Jonathan, who's going to get married in October, his fiance is saying, you don't need to do that. I love you the way you are. Right. And again, it doesn't make sense to you logically, right, Jonathan? You think, oh, you'd be all over the moon with it. But again, it's just, we're talking about bizarro world here. Our subconscious mind is not logical and rational. So that's really interesting, isn't it, Jonathan? So how do you feel about that? I bet you feel a little bit discouraged and weird, right? You feel strange because it doesn't match up with your expectations. It's very interesting. Yeah. Paul followed that up as exactly my diet or mindset was ready to quit because I was super overweight. Yeah, exactly. Diet or mindset wants to quit real quick. Okay. That's why I say, the mindset's always the most important thing. Always, always, always. JK says, any suggestions on easy to prepare proteins to add to my salads, cottage cheese, hard cheeses? Will stop eating daily tuna. I think that's a good idea. I would not recommend eating tuna daily. I mean, what I like hard boiled eggs, so I'll get like an 18 pack of eggs. I use my Instant Pot. The Instant Pot's fine. I'll tell you my problem with the Instant Pot is I feel like it's bullshit name. Like Instant Pot implies like it's instant, like a microwave, right? It should be called the fast pot. It's faster than a boil. I don't know, faster than a stove pot or something. It's not instant. It is a lot faster. Anyways, it always throws me off. Anyways, so I usually make hard boiled eggs in an Instant Pot. I'll get like a pack of 18, hard boil them, and I got them all week. And that's one of the main things I'll put in a salad. Another sort of easiest protein on the planet though is probably a can of chickpeas, right? Black beans, right? Beans are great, easy, super fast and again, out of the can, they're even healthier than when you make them yourself, So yeah, me personally, I'm a vegetarian, pescatarian. So I really rely on, the hard-boiled egg whites and chickpeas are two of my go-tos. Tofu I'd probably add in there as well if I cared to, but I'm good with just those. Blue Run Vintage, I find myself resisting suggestions to crave healthy foods because I don't want to crave anything. Does that sound silly? No, I get that. I mean, you're kind of hung up on the word, obviously better than craving junk. I know. No, that's fair enough. And I think Blue Run, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the awareness. So a lot of times, this is funny. Look at what I was just talking about, the subconscious mind, and what Jonathan was talking about is that I regularly say I work in the realm of the stupid. And what I mean by that when I say it is that we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And we are subconscious creatures primarily, right? Even evolutionarily, the prefrontal cortex part of our brain, which is the conscious part of our brain, where our logic, rational, executive functioning mind exists, where our willpower is. This is evolutionarily the newest part of our brain. And anatomically, it's about 10% of our brain. The rest of our brain is the other 90% is the subconscious mind. And so we're not primarily logical, rational creatures. If we were, life would be easy. None of us would be here because you would just eat what you should. But your behaviors and thoughts and emotions are not logical and rational. And so for you, Blue Run Vintage, this is where, again, awareness precedes change. And so much of this process is not like I give you a suggestion and it just magically works. Folks, if that worked, all I would do is make hypnosis sessions. Yes, they absolutely work, but sometimes you're going to resist the suggestions. And now it becomes a real opportunity to dive into that and explore that so that you can figure out what's going on there and you can get yourself congruent so that you do want to. And again, maybe crave's not the word. Maybe you hate the word crave. Fine. Pick up a different word. Reframe the word crave for you. What do you want to, Blue Run Vintage, what do you want to feel? How do you want to feel about healthy foods? And find out, again, we use that. I always think metaphorically. I always think of like I don't remember like mailboxes used to have the flags on them, right? And I guess it was different places. Sometimes you put the flag up to have them take the mail, and sometimes the mailman put mail in your box, they put the flag up, let you know there's mail in there. And so I always use that in my mind. I have like little flag goes up. And so if all of a sudden I realize, I don't like the crave suggestion, it kind of makes me feel I don't want to crave anything. That's a little red flag that goes up for me. And I say, okay, let me explore that. Because I want to get to a place where I'm more congruent. So again, I'm fine. Okay, I don't like craving. I don't like that word. Great. I always say this with the word thin. I know a lot of people don't like the word thin. And if you hate the word thin, then fine, pick a different word. To me, you can give words whatever meaning you want. But if you genuinely have a dislike, a kind of a Pavlovian negative response to the word thin, well, then let's go into that and figure out where the work's better for you. So again, ideally, like the words I say, just go in your mind and just completely transform you to eat better, you lose all the weight and everything's magical. That's ideal. Okay. But if that doesn't happen, and it rarely does, the next phase is, oh, that kind of triggered me. I didn't really like that. Great. Let's explore that. What's going on there? And how can we get to a better place where you do like the words being said? You do have a crystal clear concept of how you want to feel and how you want to behave with things, and that's the real magic to me, is there's no right or wrong what happens. There's no good or bad with it. It's like we take whatever happens and we use it for our advantage moving forward. So I hope that helps out. What Nibby eats, how's it going? How to shift from a weight loss to maintenance mindset. I find myself instinctively eating on a deficit. Also, I feel like a thin mindset is so confidence laden. I just feel great and can enter any space with more ease and self-assurance. I love that. What Nibby eats, I think that's so super, because I think, now I to speak from the weight loss to maintenance mindset, I have a hard time with this. This is why I'm programming myself thin. We fucking completely skip that concept. We completely skip that. Instead of the diet idea is that you have your average calorie consumption, you drastically change it and go into a deficit. And then some magical point when you reach your goal weight, you magically bring up some magical maintenance level. And that sounds so good on paper. And in reality, good luck. Good luck. Because now you've brought yourself down to some extreme deficit because you want to lose weight quickly. And now you have no clue what your maintenance is. Oh no, Jim, I know, because I gotta look at my calorie thing. Bullshit. That's just a guesstimate. And you don't even know how to achieve those calories. And now you've eaten one way, mostly on autopilot, kept you overweight. Now you've drastically changed how you've eaten for a period of time to lose the weight in an unsustainable, never thought of going to be long-term way. And so now you have to you've got the third stage where you have to completely figure out how you're going to eat to live at your goal weight. So it's 3 complete difficult phases. And so with Program Yourself Thin, we just go from what your average calorie consumption is now and your weight to your maintenance level. So we skip that maintenance bullshit where you're going to figure it out. No one figures it out. Again, Nibby, you're going to be one of the few. Okay. But I'm letting you know, it's estimated 95% of people that lose weight on a diet, put it all back on. So, which is another way to say only 5% of people that go into a deficit and then try to bring up the maintenance are able to do that. Because it's a whole nother phase. And the hardest part of that phase is that you're going to start bringing up the maintenance and you are going to probably gain weight and you're going to freak out and you're going to go back to calorie deficit. And it's very difficult to figure out what a maintenance is from that deficit. 5% of people do it. So don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to be negative. Okay. So Nibby, I'm just letting you know, I'm stating this. That's what you're up against. Okay. So how do you get to a maintenance mindset? Right? Because you're instinctively eating on a deficit because that's what you've trained yourself doing. That's where you got success. And that's what you Pavlovian associated with. That's good. That's a good thing. And so now, again, when you bring it up to maintenance, I can almost guarantee you the scale is going to go up a little bit and you're going to go right triggered back into diet mode. And how do you deal with that? Well, I don't know. It's hard. That's why I try and get people before that and say, listen, let's just focus on your maintenance right from day one. That's the mastery here, is that you're mastering what do I need to eat? How do I need to eat and live in order to live in my goal weight for the rest of my life? That's what Program Yourself is in a nutshell, right? When you're dieting, you're just drastically cutting calories out. So you start losing weight quick. And then you say, oh, fuck it. Once I get to my goal weight, then I'll figure it out. Again, how many times when you've gotten to your goal weight, folks, have you figured it out? And I know the answer is absolutely 0. And you're not alone. 5% is a horrible success rate. Right. And it's just hard. There's a lot of challenges against you. A lot of it's mindset wise and a lot of strategic, because you've got to figure it out. And so you're going to screw up and it's going to bum you out and it's hard not to revert back to the diet mindset at that point. So again, I don't want to sound negative here, Nibby, but I do want to be real. I want to be real with you because I see this so much. All right. So, what I would say for you is, first off, I would really, really, really lean on your mindset. And I like that you said that I feel like a thin mindset is so confidence laden. Yes. So again, in Program Yourself Thin, we do that first, to be honest. It's an inside out approach to weight mastery. So we really want to be able to create and tap into that confidence and that mindset right from the beginning. That's what we're working on. So for you, Nibby, that's the mindset piece, is how much can I think from that perspective? How confident can I feel? How much of a thin mindset can I live within day in and day out? Right. So that's the first thing, is that the more I do that, the better. And then from that mindset, begin asking the questions, how can I live at my goal weight for the rest of my life? What do I need to eat? What is my maintenance look like? And it's a challenge. Again, I'm just trying to tell you, because you don't know. Do you understand? Like when you don't know something, you have to learn it. There's a period of confusion and disorientation. So you're going to go through that now, Nivy. Even though you weigh what you want to weigh now, you got to your goal weight, there's still going to be this disorientation and confusion because you're not sure what to eat to live there. You've done something drastic. And so now you got to figure out how to balance it all out. So it's a whole new phase that sits in front of you. And the good news is, I suppose, is that you can go into that phase closer to your goal weight or at your goal weight and understanding the mindset piece. All right. And he also says, I want to thank you. I've reached my goal weight from 75 to 58 kilograms. Your live sessions were an integral part of my journey, Jim. Well, that's awesome. Take a little screenshot of that. Nice. Congratulations too, by the way. That's very, very, very exciting. Morgana says, what do you think the root energetic cause is of the body holding fat? I think the root energetic cause is your mindset. I think the mindset is the number one reason why your body holds on to fat. And your body holds on to fat primarily because you put too many calories in your body. So that, again, there's no energetic cost. If I throw you in jail, you could have the same energy in your body and I cut your calories down, you're going to lose weight, energy or not, don't matter. You know what I mean? So you could have, it doesn't matter. There's no energetic cost. You know what I mean? Like if I throw you in jail and I control your calories and I cut your calories by half, energy away, you're going to lose weight, you know? So again, ultimately it comes down to what we're putting in our mouth consistently. Don't get me wrong. There are subtle factors that may, affect the speed at which you lose weight, cortisol, stress levels, those types of things. But at the end of the day, in the free world, what's mainly dictating your weight is your mindset, what you're thinking day in and day out, how you think of the process, how you think about food, how you think about yourself, So I don't know what a root energetic cause would be, but I do know that the root cause of the body holding on to fat is your mindset. Because your mindset leads to your behaviors. Because it's your behaviors that cause your body to hold on to fat. Let it be known. That's what I'm trying to say. Because again, that's why I say, like you could have all horrible energetic things going on, horrible mindset. I throw you in jail and control your eating. None of that shit matters. You're going to lose weight because I'm going to cut your calories down. And so, but we live in a free world. So because we're in a free world, it's still the same thing. It's still your behaviors that are causing your body to hold on to fat and be overweight. But it is now a mindset, piece that's leading to your behaviors that leads to the weight. If that makes sense. Deb says, sorry, just joined. What program is it for 4 months? Yeah, Deb, I'll send you information on that. That 4-month program is it's an immersion program. So it's an intensive program. I'm crystal clear. It's an intensive coaching program for 4 months. I think it's one of the best ones I've ever put together. I'm super excited about it. But I will, get on the wait list. So if you join the wait list, I'll send you more information on it. And if you get on the wait list, you'll pretty much be guaranteed, I believe, that you'll be able to get in the program if you choose to. All right. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, again, just go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session I give you. That's free. Watch the video I made you. That's free. You're on my email list then. And then I email you every day anyways, good, like really quality content, I think. And then you'll be able to join the wait list on the bottom of that for the next couple of days. But this is moving quick. Like I said, it's starting September 1st. We'll see. I'm keeping it small. First time I want to really you're getting a lot of attention to me. This is as close as you can get to working with me privately. But it's even better than that because you get access to me 4 days a week. We go through the program. It's an awesome program. And so, like I said, I'll get you all this stuff. If you're interested in it, get on the wait list and I'll send you information on it. And, registration will open this week as well. Satan. Well, what do you want, Satan? How do you say it? Is it I was gonna say like a Satan? Probably Satan. Is that Satan? Yeah. Yeah, KT. Yeah, so true. Things are so much harder in real life, especially over the long term. Thank you. Right? I mean, it is bizarro world for me. That is the hardest thing I would say for me is dieters. And I know this because the diet industry is built around the false hope syndrome, where they're really trying to get you hyped up that you're going to lose all the weight and you're going to wear your bathing suit to the beach and everyone's going to think you look amazing and everyone's going to, you're going to model, or you're going to be on covers of magazines. I know I'm being dramatic, but not much. And all you got to do is change one thing, right? The diets are always built around one thing and this false hope syndrome. And, I sit here not to give you hope. I want to give you real hope. Because the diet industry is built around this bullshit hope where they just get you razzed up for a minute, get your money, and then, leave you with a shitty plan in real life. Just because a plan looks great on paper. Keto to me is the epitome of this. Keto on paper just sounds so easy and it's gonna be so good, so quick. But then the reality of eating that way is a completely different story, right? Intermittent fasting's like that for most people. And so, again, I try to, my experience is, I'm in the real world. I fill a very unique niche in the weight loss industry because I am one of the few people that actually works with people throughout the process to actually get them results. So I'm not just telling you what to do. If you look at the weight loss industry, it is like 99% people telling you what to do, what to eat, how to work out, what you should do. And then you're left to do it on your own. Get yourself to do it. And you don't know how to get yourself to do it. You got willpower. You can do it for a little while, and then you stop doing it. So to actually do something long term, you need a lot. It's a completely different approach. Me telling you what to do is about 10% of program yourself then. The other 90% is helping you to figure out how to get yourself to do it long term. And I just see very little of that in the weight loss industry. So yeah, it's all about how to do it in the long term. And no one ever talks about this, and it makes me crazy. Yeah. Well, so again, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Satan. I'm going to assume it's Satan, but Satan says, I just want to go back to the way I was when I was on Ozempic. Helped so much, but I had to stop it. Yeah. I mean, again, let's be honest. And I'm not against the weight loss medicines. I think if you don't have the time, energy, or motivation to want to really master your mindset, lifestyle, and eating genuinely, I think the weight loss medications are great. Okay. So if you don't want to put that work in, knock yourself out with the weight loss medicines. They work and they're relatively safe. But again, they're not fixing the core problem. It's a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? It's a Band-Aid, an effective Band-Aid though. So it is what it is. But then you have any issues, you can come off it instantly right back to where you were. Nothing really changed. So again, there are ways to create Ozempic-like effects naturally, folks. What Ozempic and the medicines like that what they're doing to you is they're increasing your GLP-1 hormone, which is a hormone your body naturally produces when you eat more whole natural foods, specifically fiber, high quality proteins, especially, and you start feeling more satisfied. When you nourish yourself with nutrient dense foods and a wide variety of nutrients from natural sources, your body naturally starts to create an Ozempic-like effect. So that's a much better way. But in order to do that, you got to change your mindset and your lifestyle too. So anyways, but I get it. Whoops. Oh, okay, now I'm saying it right. Yes, Satan. Yeah. I got it. Whoops. Let's see here. Let me back up. I missed a bunch of questions. So I never want to miss anyone. What's up, Jim? How's it going? Jim says, my homies gave me the funniest gift ever, a huge pack of mini Reeses cups to teach me moderation. All of a sudden, they're my teachers and dietitians. But now I have such an urge to eat the whole thing. That's so funny, Jim. Your friends are funny. That's a funny one, I would say. Like that, they probably genuinely care for you, or they genuinely want to sabotage you. One or the other, right? That's really interesting. I would say having a huge pack of mini Reese's cups to teach you moderation, that's one of those things that on paper sounds great, but in reality, a lot of times doesn't work out well. And it's up to you to figure out which one of those it'll be for you. But it's very interesting. Your friends are a trip, man. I don't know. That's unusual. But again, they either care, they care for you. They either care that they want to help you, or they care they want to knock you off your game. But it's up to you to stay true with what you want, and see how you're able to handle those Reese's as well. Because that could be a challenge. That certainly would have been a challenge for me back in the day. I would have had a very hard time with that. Moses says, I need to know the brand of those cookies. They sound so good. They are so good. And I have realized, again, I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago, my blinders, my ignorance was revealed once again a couple weeks ago, because the place down the street, it's just a grocery store, and it's a small one. It's not like a superstore like most of them are now. It's a local kind of relatively low. I think they got like 5 or 6 of them. And it's in my place. And so they make they're like, oh, we make our own donuts, we make the cookies, and it's like their own branding and all that. I've since come to realize that what that means is they get pre-made donuts there, and they put them in the oven and they bake them, but it's not really they making them there, and it's the same with the cookies. So I don't think it's a brand you could get, but they are very good. Yeah, they're called brownie cookies, and like I said, they got a different texture than a typical cookie, so they do taste a little bit brownie cookies, and they're wicked good. But that's only get it once in a while. Shelly says, have you ever heard of Eat Type for your blood type? Eat Right for your blood type. Yes, I have, and I'm assuming you're asking what I think about it. I think it's a lot of bullshit. I don't think they would ever have the data they would need to make that decision. That being said, the don't get mad at me, people. I don't really believe in like astrology. Okay. And I'm not saying I don't believe in it, but I never really understood it. But at the same time, it does seem like a useful way to kind of categorize yourself sometimes. Right. So I'm a Libra and I think I have Libra like tendencies sometimes. So does that mean I believe in all astrology? I don't really, but I also find some value out of it and think about it sometimes through that prism. So that being said, I guess my answer to you is that I don't really believe in eat right for your blood. I don't believe that it is accurate. But at the same time, I think that there might be some concepts in that help you see things that resonate for you and work for you, you know? And I think that's just true in life. I think a lot of times things can work that aren't scientifically true, but we believe them and it helps us make sense of the world and helps us kind of, get on the right track. So that's my thought with that. Blue Burns Fitness. Thanks, Jim. I'll dig into this and find a subword. I know why crave rubs me the wrong way. Greatly appreciate your help. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Think about that because again, I always think of this process as we walk along the weight mastery path. So much of that process, when we zoom in on it, is coming face to face with our own kind of hangups. Maybe we got hangups with a certain word, or we think, oh, I don't like vegetables and fruits, or I'm addicted to sweets, or we have all these different beliefs and ideas in our mind. And I always think the path of weight mastery is the path of resolving those things, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones, finding, mistaken beliefs, eliminating them if they're wrong. That to me, it seems like the process. So yeah, reflect on those words and find something that's better. User 690 says, I'm an all or nothing gal. If I get off, I can't get back on. Yeah. Well, here we talk about not being all or nothings. That's the shittiest, dumbest, worst approach you could have. It sounds good. And again, write it down on paper. Being all or nothing sounds perfect, right? Because you don't want to be nothing. So I'm going to be all. I'm going to do it all this time, right? But in reality, in actuality, being all or nothing is fucking terrible. And all the things in your life that really matter to you, you're all or something. And you're all or nothing with almost nothing in your life, And what do I mean by that? If you're a parent, if you have a job, if you're in a relationship, you're all or something, right? You're not always there being the best parent, best partner, best employee ever, but you also have a base minimum level you're going to achieve. Right? You're tired and your kid's hungry, you still feed them. It might be the best food, but you're still going to feed them. You don't feel like going to work that day, you're still going to go to work. You may not give it your all, but you're still going to show up. So all or something is the secret to success in life. And it's the only way. You're not David Goggins. You're not going to be all. You're not going to be that guy. You're going to be Alex Hormozy. I love that guy, but I can't. He's just at a level. You're not going to be Tony Robbins. I'm not Tony Robbins. I don't know how this guy's doing it. I don't give a shit. I'm not him. I don't want to be him. I'm me. And I think you all got to do the same thing, because you user 690, you're not an all or nothing gal. You're a nothing or all gal. A nothing or all gal. Let's switch that around because most of the time you're nothing. And a little bit, once in a while, you're all. Okay. So you're mostly nothing and your results probably show that. Don't take this. I'm not being offensive. Okay. I'm trying to be crystal clear, honest and truthful with you so you can see things more accurately. Being all or nothing is horse shit because what all or nothing looks like in reality for most people is they're following their keto plan, they're intermittent fat, whatever you're going to do. You're doing it perfectly for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, once a decade, a couple months. And then you're doing nothing. And that math doesn't work. Okay. And so the solution is to become all or something. Sometimes I'm doing everything perfect. And then when I'm not able to do that, I still am doing some stuff. I'm always in the game. That's how you get way better results, And that's why when you get off, you can't get back on because all or nothing, again, you're mostly nothing. And here's Monday. So Monday comes around. Okay, now I'm going to keto, jump into no carbs start tomorrow. And it's so overwhelming. You don't want to do it to begin with. And then you do get yourself to do it. And then you fall off track and you can't get yourself to start it again. So the all or nothing is literally what's causing you to not be able to get back on track. And what you have to do is you have to reframe your mindset because any of you, and again, I'll debate you guys all day long. You want to tell me all or nothing works? That's why I was saying, I'm not trying to be rude with you. I'm trying to snap you the fuck out of your all or nothing bullshit trance. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're nothing or all. And your results probably reflect that, most likely. And I don't know, but probably. So the first step to getting out of that is to realize all or nothing's a bunch of bullshit. It's horse shit. It's a fantasy world. That's that false hope syndrome, right? 'Cause you're going to be all and you're going to change everything all at once. You'll lose 10 pounds this week. It's bullshit. It's just to jerk you around. So That's what I think of it. Yeah, Jonathan says, I do, Jim. It's a little weird because I feel so much healthier now, but I do feel a little unmotivated now. Yeah, I've even learned how to contain myself around any junk in the house. It's nice. Yeah, Jonathan, that's great, right? It is. It's just so funny. I can't tell you. Like, that's what I mean. Again, and Jonathan's in all mode, right? But we've gone through it, so it's okay, I think, for this specific situation. But it's still, it's so funny, Jonathan, right? 'Cause it came out of nowhere. You weren't expecting that one. And that's how it is for all of us. I try to tell you this. We use Jonathan as an example here, but this happens to all of us, that along our weight mastery path, the things that knock us off are not the things you're expecting. It's just, it's so weird like that. It's your partner saying, geez, you don't need to do this. You look great already. Why are you doing this? I feel sad for you. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, you're supposed to be cheerleading me. You're supposed to be really, you're supposed to love me even more. You're supposed to think I look so hot and I look amazing now. What are you doing? Now I got no motivation, but we knew this anyways, Jonathan. Again, you've built this whole thing around extrinsic motivation, right? Because you want to look good in pictures. You want to look good for a fiance. And so now the person you want to look the best for is saying, I don't give a shit. Now you're like, oh, well, why do I even want to do this? And now you're like, but I do feel better, right? So again, Jonathan, for you, this is an opportunity to start focusing on intrinsic motivation. Why you want to do this. How do you feel being this version of yourself? And again, you're coming face to face with it, which you're going to come with anyways, Jonathan, because you're at some point, you're going to come up to the deeper stuff that's inside of you. And the deeper stuff inside of you is your motivation, how you're thinking about this process, how you think about yourself, why you're doing this. And so it was going to come up regardless, because you're not dealing with any of that right now. You say, I want to look good for my thing, and I'm just to do drastic shit just to do it. Great. And again, that can work for a little while, but hold on one second, folks. Where is it? All right. Sorry about that. There's a bear out back, so I had to look at it. I work from home. That's one of the beauties of it. I can see bears when they come out my backyard. So anyways, I didn't really see it. It's a cub. My wife's videotaping. I say, be careful. Watch my wife get eaten out here during the live. She's pretty fast, though. Jemima says 3 X's and it's all back. Not sure about that. Moses says, Jim, I have a big back mindset. Yeah. Sylvie says, what about insulin resistance? Yeah, what about it though? What do you want to know? Yeah, insulin resistance. I can talk about insulin resistance all day. I find it so fascinating that so much of the country is type 2 diabetic and more becoming type 2 diabetic every day. And so few people really understand what it is, what's going on with it. So yeah, I mean, I get, if you're asking that, I'm going to assume you're asking, what about insulin resistance? Can I still lose weight? You can absolutely still lose weight with insulin resistance. 100%, folks. Again, I say this to you, the best thing about the weight loss medicine in my world is that it proves once and for all that the reason you're overweight is because you're consuming too many calories, because they're giving these medicines to people that are insulin resistant, hormonal, menopausal, Hashimoto-ish, all this stuff. And they're all losing weight because they're eating less calories. So you can absolutely lose weight with insulin resistance. You may lose it a little bit slower. Okay. I'm not questioning that. People lose weight at different rates of speed. But if you reduce your calorie consumption, your weight's going to go down, insulin resistance or not. So for some reason, I will tell you one thing. I hear this sometimes because I made a video saying exactly that. The best part of the weight loss medicines is they prove that it's the calorie consumption. And people say, no, I eat the same thing and I lost weight. And it's like, no, you just don't even know what you're eating. People don't know what they're eating. It's like, anyways, but, and they're like, no, I think the insulin just fixed my metabolism. It's like, if that was the case, then people have been pumping insulin in their bodies forever, for a long time. They're not losing weight. So Anywho's. Linda, I called last week and it didn't work. The class on Tuesdays. That class, like, you know, I had to, I had a tech issue. So I was trying to log in to do the class and I couldn't log in. The service I used was down, which is really unusual. That's literally the first time it's ever happened. But I sent an email out right after that saying that that's what happened. And it's so weird because I feel like so many people didn't get the email. And you all get the emails every single day. And that one, though, for some reason, I feel like a lot of people didn't get. So I apologize for that. That's really unusual. I don't expect that to happen again. So we'll be there tomorrow, Tuesday, anyways. So I apologize for that. And I've been trying to figure out why some people did not get that email, and I haven't figured that out either. So anyways, Julie says, I threw away so much food from my cabinets this weekend. Most was processed crap, not worth the calories. Good for you, Julie. It's great once we get rid of it and it's gone. I feel like that's a whole nother level. So good job. Good job. Hey, all right. Tina said you inspired me to make salads this week. That's awesome. That makes me happy. And I'll tell you, that's even my salads are starting to improve. And, you know, again, I just want to share this because, like, I want to improve my salads. I've been getting this farm share thing, and I've got, like, the last couple of weeks they've had cucumbers from the farm and whatever. And I always put cucumbers in my salad, but usually the ones I get from, like, the big box store. And the last couple of weeks I've been getting the farm ones, the organic farm ones. They're a million times better. They taste, everything about them is better. And so last week I went back because they stopped having them at the farm, and I went and got the old ones I got. And I was like, oh, these taste like shit now. Everything's relative. But so that part of me, in addition to my smoothies, I want to add another thing I'm doing is I'm going to be optimizing my salads a bit. And what I will do is I will go to the local co-op, which I haven't been going to, probably on Mondays. And I will grab, just a couple, probably radishes, cucumbers, and some other stuff that's, again, it's similar to what I was eating, but it's just a higher quality now. This is what I'm trying to say. In Program Yourself Thin, we have the eating blueprint, and it's really built around awareness and optimization. And the optimization, those phases go on forever. And so I'm telling you, I myself am always doing that. I'm always like becoming more and more aware of things and then optimizing them. And then once I optimize them, I'm working on, like, I have the idea now, but for me to go from idea to want to do that, to actually do it, I give myself a bit of time to do it as well. And that's one of the rare things that people rarely do. I didn't used to do that with myself either, but it's something I've learned that just because you know what you want to do and you know the reasons to do it, you know how to do it, doesn't mean you're just going to start doing it right away. So I look at so much now, like, it's like in basketball, if I want to practice a new shot, okay, great. But it's going to take me a bit of practice to finally get it down. There's one that, I watch a video how to do it. And there's another being able to do it. The guitar. Okay, I see how to play the song. I look at the tab or the music note of it. And it's like, I get it. But then me being able to do it's another thing. And I think a lot of people don't do that with weight loss. They're like, I know what to do and I'm just going to do it. No, you're a human being. And it takes conditioning. It takes reinforcement. It takes practice to act the way you want to. Carla says, I look my best when I feel my worst. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to assume that that's like when you're starved and then that's when you think you look your best. See, I would reframe that. If I ever did believe that I look my best when I'm completely malnourished, I would never accept that, because I would say to myself, how could I? I would only look my best to assholes that don't even recognize energy. Because I think of myself, like, what's your definition of looking your best? My definition of looking my best, now, again, I'm almost 50-year-old man, so it's different, but I've been doing this since I was 19 too, is that my definition of looking my best is me being the best version of myself. My eyes, like, I'm alive. I'm animated. I feel good about myself. I'm happy with myself. I'm nourished, energized, feeling good, feeling strong. That's who I want to be. That's me looking my best. Me being a certain weight and feeling like shit, that's not my definition of looking best. So I would redefine that, because that seems like a definition that's going to set you up for a lot of misery in life. JK says, what eggs are the most nutritious, free range, or do you recommend just eating the whites? The most nutritious eggs, well, and that's always a question, is organic free range, is that going to be the most nutritious? The way I think of nutrition when it comes to animals, farmed animals in general, is I want, and they're so sneaky with these phrases. So let it be known, right? They got cage free, there's free range, there's pasture raised, and they don't a lot of times mean what you think they're going to mean. So, I mean, the ideal eggs you can get would probably be from someone who has some chickens and grows them, right? Because they're probably eating the best stuff. Like a pasture raised chicken would probably be my favorite. That's what I would want, because the ideal would be that it's walking around, you're pecking shit out of the ground. So it's getting different nutrients, what it normally eats. That's probably the best egg. And it is true. The higher quality egg I get, they literally look different. The yolks are a richer, darker color. So yeah, so, that's up for you to find. And I don't want to get into the specifics of that one, but, do you recommend just eating the whites? I eat mostly just the whites. I eat yolks on the weekends. I eat about 4 yolks a week typically. But I do that because I got cholesterol issues. I got naturally high cholesterol. So I do manage my egg yolk intake, even though people say, oh, that makes no difference. I've had doctors tell me that. I don't really believe that. And so I manage it. And so I feel like 4 is good for me for a week, but different people have different opinions on that. So don't listen to me on that. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. So, Julie says, upgraded my snacks on my blueprint, added hummus and Greek yogurt with veggies for snacks. That's a big improvement from Oreos. Julie, I love that. That is so great. That is so great. That's exactly what we're talking about. So, Julie, you're just using the program so wonderfully. It makes me really happy. Because that's what we do. It's not about changing everything all at once. So what I love hearing about Julie is she's always improving stuff. And that's where you want to be. It's kind of the 1% better a day philosophy. You all are overwhelming yourselves. You're trying to get 100% better in one day and program yourself. Then we're trying to get 1% better every day forever. And I think that's a much better strategy. Jim said that was exactly how I imagine my motivation for the weight loss, me walking on the beach and everyone just in love with me and life is perfect. Yeah, well, it's not a surprise, Jim. And again, I don't need to know people to know that that's what they're thinking, because that's what the diet ads are putting in your mind. They've hypnotized you. They've conditioned you to think about weight loss in a certain way, and you're trapped thinking like a dieter, most of you, if you're struggling with your weight. Yeah. Yeah, well, Satan says, I just don't know why I can't control myself anymore ever since I went off the Ozempic. It's been so hard gaining the weight back. I know, folks, and I know it's so hard gaining the weight back. I know that. That to me is another one of the core reasons I got here every day for free, because it's so depressing to me, because I just know how damaging and destructive it is to lose the weight and then put it back on. And most of you probably have lost weight and put it back on a number of times in your life. And most people can only handle that 3-4 times before it's just like, because now what you do is you associate weight loss with failure. And now you can't even get yourself started on any plan. You think about losing weight all day long, every day, but you don't actually get yourself to start a plan. And it's because you associate failure to weight loss, even when you lose weight. And so now you're in a real pickle. So I know it sucks. It sucks. But that's why I tell you guys, it's not, if you are tired of that, you have to stop focusing on weight loss and you have to focus on weight mastery. The difference being that weight loss is all about getting to your goal weight. Weight mastery is all about living at your goal weight. And your focus has never been living at your goal weight. You always treat it as an aside. Yeah, I'll figure it out when I get there. No, you won't. No, you fucking won't. I don't know what's it going to take? I know you don't believe me either. I know you don't believe me when I say it. So I have to use bad words. I have to use the F word to try and drive the point home, but you don't believe me. Yeah, Jim. Okay. Okay, Jim. Jim and your happy horse shit. I'm not going to start. No, I'll just lose it. And then I'll figure it out, Jim. I hear what you're saying. It sounds cute and all, but I'm different. I'm going to lose it first and I'll figure it out. And it's like, well, okay, that's fine. But what's happened the last 2 times you tried doing that? What happened? And it's always the same story, And the medicine just makes it worse. But at least with the medicine, oh, okay, that's actually the medicine. Now I can't do it. Now you know why. It's worse when you do the diet and then you get to your goal weight and now you just can't stick to it. Because now you're just like, I don't understand why. I understand why. But at least the medicine is like, it's like, oh, that's why, that makes it a little bit better in a weird way. Carl on the road says, yeah, my definition, unfortunately, is very different. I just want to be as thin as possible, be the beauty standard. Yeah. Also, you look very thin too. I feel like you could be saying you just want to be healthy, but it's definitely also about looks. No, that's fair, Carla. I think that's fair. But it's not. And I will tell you, I will prove this to you, because I have lost 30 pounds, 30 years ago, I was 50 pounds heavier. And so I dropped the weight and I lived at the same weight for the last 30 years, minus 12 years ago, I put 25 pounds on. And, when I put 25 pounds on, my life was bonkers, right? So 12 years ago, we'd moved into a brand new house that we completely redid. I had a brand new baby. My son was born, and I'm running a business. So it was just very stressful, difficult, challenging time of life. And so I put 25 pounds on. I was like, oh shit, I got to shake this. So I dropped 15 pounds relatively quick, but I raised my goal weight, because at that point, could I have lived at a lower weight? I could have, but life was hard, So again, the goal weight, I think you have to take into account your reality. And so for a while there, I was fine with my weight being 10 pounds higher than where it was. So I obviously no one's going to look at it and say, oh, well, looks matter too. I'm not going to sit here and say looks don't matter. They do matter. They are a part of the process, but the way bigger part of the process for me and my motivation is that my father died at 54 of a heart attack. So my father died in front of my eyes at 54 of a heart attack. I was 9 years old. My brother was 6. And so that was the most traumatic experience of my life. So my motivation is primarily built around that. And then on top of that is I want to be the person I want to be. I want to have the energy I want to have. I want to be alive. I want to be clear-headed. I want to be focused. I want to not have to think about my weight and food all the time so I can put that energy into other things that I actually care about in life. And so, yes, I like looking a certain way for sure, but it's it is a much smaller piece of the puzzle. And yeah, I would just say the beauty standard is a big crock of shit, in my opinion. And that's my opinion because, I get the opportunity to talk to a number of younger women. And I think you're especially at the mercy of this shit because the culture right now, including social media, really sets you up for failure, because there is these beauty standards, which are based on what? What's it based on? Because even a beauty standard is the societal norm, but your life's not lived in a societal fucking norm. Okay. Meaning that you might think, well, oh, I see this person who has 5 million followers and they weigh this amount. I need to look at that. I need to weigh that amount. That's what guys think is attractive. That's what I want to do. That's what people think are attractive. That's what I want to look like. But in reality, in real life, most people just need one person to think they're attractive, And so I think that's one of the big problems right now. And I think social media makes this worse. Media makes it bad. But this idea that like we want to look good, we want everyone to want us. We want everyone to think we're beautiful. Why? That's something I think about that a lot, because at the end of the day, most people just need the person that they find attractive and they like to think they're beautiful and attractive. And so if all you care about is being as thin as you could possibly be, you're most likely going to attract a person who only values how thin you are. And that's how they're measuring you as a person. And so that doesn't seem like a good foundation for anything great. And so, you always have the opportunity to decide which one you're going to believe in, but I think, I would rather someone that thought I was beautiful because of the person I was, and obviously looks matter. Again, I'm not saying they don't matter, but I think I hear what you're talking about when you're talking about like, oh, being beautiful is when I feel my worst. I feel weak. I feel, woozy. I feel like shit. I have no energy. I'm tired all the time. My emotions are all over the place. I'm nervous myself. I think that, that's, again, I mean, I don't know. That seems not good. Where is that thing? I'm trying to see that bear. So yeah, so I think that yeah. Am I very thin? I guess a lot of people do think I'm very thin because everything's relative anyways, but I'm smack dab in the middle of the BMI chart. Yeah, Jim said, yeah, those friends are trying to help him, but yeah. What's up, Athena? What would you say is the healthiest cheese? It's an interesting question. I mean, me personally, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of cheese. I never tell people what to eat, but the whole cheese thing is kind of weird, like it really is. Cheese is big business, so there's a lot of money putting into like how you think about cheese. But me personally, I eat cheese. I'm not saying I never eat it, but I eat it very sparingly. It's something I really moderate. And that's me. So what's the healthiest cheese? I don't even know. I don't pay enough attention to cheese. I would say the healthiest cheeses are probably like good cheeses. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to say like Swiss or American or cheddar, like in a plastic package. I would think like a real cheese, like higher quality cheeses that are fresher, that are aged better. I would say those are probably the healthiest cheeses. KT says, have you shared your thoughts about the weight loss meds? I was on them for months, made me sick. Oh, interesting. I mean, I've had my thoughts on it are that I'm not here to put those down, but I do like, I like to say that it's usually actually, I'll get back to Carl on the road. The weight loss medicines, I'm not against them, because I get like if someone's obese, that's probably what they should do, honestly, again, because I don't think like diets aren't going to work for you, so I don't know what else is there going to do. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like when I look at like weight loss solutions out there, what do I see? I see diets, I see surgery, and I see the medicines. And then I see like what I'm talking about. Like, does anyone else talk about the way I do? I'm sure there's some people out there. I just don't know about them, So it's like, I think most obese people aren't going to do my program. They're not going to put the work in to transform their mindset, lifestyle, and eating. And so in that situation, I think taking the medicine and losing the weight that way is better than being obese. That being said, it's not a real solution. So again, those weight loss medicines and what we're doing in Program Yourself Thin are two totally different things, because at the end of the day, Program Yourself Thin is about taking your weight loss and wrap it in personal development. It's about being the best version of you possible. And the weight loss medicines just make you less hungry and make you lose weight that way, and I'm telling you, it's not solving the problem the way you think it is. It's removing one problem. It's making the problem less intense in some ways, but it's not fixing it. And so the people that end up in my program, especially because they're perfectionists, they demand a lot of themselves, they're ambitious, they're action oriented, and they want to fix this. And the diets never show them how. The weight loss medicine doesn't do that. And the surgery doesn't either. And so this is one of the few ways to truly, truly transform yourself from the inside out into a thin, healthy person in a way that you can rely on for the rest of your life. And so I think that, that's kind of my very gracious take on the weight loss medicines, because I think a lot of not nice stuff about them too, but I don't really want to get into that here because I know some people are on them, and I want to be able to be a source of support for anyone, regardless of what you're doing, and even keto, you're on keto. Okay. I shit talk it, but come on. So what? You know what I mean? Like tough shit. So you got to hear me shit talk keto a little bit. You don't like keto either. Or whatever diet you're doing. You don't like those diets either. So I'll get mad when I shit talk them. You don't like them either, which is why you're not doing them or doing them enough to get the results you want. So, anyways, back to Carla on the road. I was just saying, okay, that Carla wants to be the beauty standard, right? And I was just talking about that feeling, and she goes, I just crave that feeling so much, the validation. And what I'm trying to tell you is that when you get your validation from other people, and especially people you don't even know, that is setting you up for failure. Is it not? I mean, how could it not? Right. And I get it. I mean, like there's most of the culture's set up that way, especially younger people and especially younger girls, especially. It's like they're just set up for failure for that, because they're looking for that unlimited validation you think you get from social media, and looking a certain way. And, if you don't realize it now, at some point in your life, you will realize it's a bunch of bullshit, and it's a bad way to set your life up, because, 1,000 strangers thinking you're amazing looking, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? When you really sit and think about that, who gives a fuck, compared to having like one person who genuinely likes you for who you are, that you don't need to starve yourself for them to love you. So again, I don't know. I know a lot of people, this is just a hypnosis they got caught in, but let's just like bring up the main point. You don't have to buy into that. It's ultimately it is a decision, even though it feels like that's just how everyone thinks. But anyways, Julie says, gained back to 85 pounds, lost on Weight Watchers, but now I'm calm and happy. Cravings are minimum now. That's super, super duper. I love that, Julie. Yeah. And again, the better you keep cleaning up your eating, Julie. And Julie's been doing the program for a while, and it's like, she just, it's not, I don't know. That's the main thing I can say, is that with the diets on day one, you're trying to be 100% better. And it's like, what in your life can you just all of a sudden 100% get better at something in one day? It's just, it's a concept that's so silly that no wonder it doesn't work, What's up, Carrie? Carrie says, all or nothing mindset so stressful, which is opposite of what we need to be successful. There you go, Carrie. Exactly. Your state of mind and the way you feel is obviously the foundation of your behaviors. And so if you're stressing yourself out on day one, your chances of success are going to be pretty low. Yeah. Jonathan says, I feel amazing. I'm less than 15 pounds away from my goal. Great job, Jonathan. Jeez, it's so fast, huh? KT says it's great and you're using this program. Jonathan is not using this program, KT. Jonathan is like just doing drastic shit that I normally say isn't great, but Jonathan has a wedding coming up in October. And so we had a conversation with that, but it's like it's we kind of talked it out. So I said, listen, hey, fuck it. Just cut all the stuff out and get to your goal weight so you can take the pictures and all the rest of it. And we can talk and manage things. Maybe Jonathan will get and program yourself in at some point, but probably not. Cause I will tell you this too. I'll tell you guys all this. We got a couple of guys here. They're probably in their 20s that, guys in their 20s, honestly, I don't know, maybe not even good for my program, but to be honest, most of the people in my program are women, and, younger guys just want to do crazy shit usually, so they usually don't get in the program anyways. But yeah, with Jonathan, he's doing some extreme shit to lose the weight that's probably unsustainable. But it doesn't matter because he's probably got the biggest motivator in front of him. And I say the biggest motivator I've seen is wedding. Wedding and wedding pictures are almost always the biggest motivator for the average person that can be there, So, but as soon as that motivation leaves, then it's gonna be hard to do what he's doing. Most likely. And now his fiance is kind of being like, well, I love you anyways. What are you doing? Now it's getting a little weird. Cause again, I always tell you this, the change in behaviors and the change in how you look, it upsets the apple cart. And even if you think it doesn't matter, right? You're overweight and you start looking better, you start looking thinner. And all of a sudden the person you're with says, what's going on? I don't really like this as much. What, huh? Thinner's better. But it's like, no, it's not always. There's a lot of people on the planet that like different things, but anyways. It's funny. John says, I don't recommend this for long term. You could recommend it long term too, and it wouldn't matter because no one will be able to stand it probably long term. That's the problem with those things. So yeah, Carla follows up and says, yeah, I know you're right about the whole beauty standard and the validation thing, but pretty and thin privilege is so real in this world. I used to be very big and now I'm still a little overweight. I'd managed to get my goal, but you're right, managing is hard and maintaining is hard. Yeah, I mean, listen, hey, thin, pretty privilege is real. Agreed. But to a point. Okay. So it's to a point. And that's what I'm trying to point out here is that I think they're like overweight, ugly bias is real. Pretty thin privilege is real. They're real. I'm again, to a point though, and as you start to get close to your goal weight, it becomes less and less. And it starts to become, what you're setting up for yourself is not a long-term thing, So again, I don't know how old you are, but say you're 20 years old. It's like that being thin is going to be something that's going to matter to you, the average person, for 5 more years, 6 more years, then you get another phase of your life. It's just different, but ultimately, what you put out there, you get back. You broadcast things. And I'm not just saying the weight, I'm thinner. And some people might, I've had people assume things because of my weight and how I look that aren't necessarily true. So people may assume things, but you have to understand that at the core of me, inside of me, I'm not doing this so I can be a certain weight and people can see me at this size or this weight. That's not my goal. And I'm not projecting that, and I'm married anyways. It's different in that way, but it's like, if I was single and wanted to put myself out there, I wouldn't put myself, cause it's almost like the guys. For the guys, it's the opposite, right? They want to be jacked. They want to be as muscular as possible. And women, a lot of times it shows up as they want to be as thin as possible. But I think both of these things are kind of like, if you make your life all about being as thin as you can be, or you make your life about being as big and muscular as you can be, it's like it's fine if you love it. If you love it, I'm not saying don't knock yourself out. But if you're doing it because you're looking for validation from other people, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm going to get people that really want someone to be super thin. That's the most important thing to them. So that's their value system is I want someone who's super skinny. Or if it's a guy, I want someone who's super jacked up and muscular. That's the most important thing to me. So for me personally, as who I am, I don't want that. I don't want to be attractive to the person who just wants someone who's jacked up and muscular. And if I was a girl, or a female, or in a situation, I wouldn't want to be just as skinny as I could be, because I want someone to think I'm really beautiful because I'm just as skinny as I can be. Like, again, it's up to you to want a more depth to your relationships and what you want, because you're subconsciously saying, I want someone to want me because I am as thin as I am. And I just don't see that as a good foundation. Now, that being said, we back it up a little bit and say, I want someone to see me. I'm healthy. I take my health serious, my weight serious. This is all serious to me. And that's to me, that's different, because you said, Carla, that my best, when I look my best, I feel my worst. And so right off the bat, that's unacceptable to me. That doesn't meet up. In NLP, we call it a well-formed outcome. That's not a great outcome, right? The outcome, I want to be as thin as I can be and feel as bad as I can feel to make it happen. Like that would be unacceptable to me. That'd be like saying, I want to make a lot of money and I'm going to work as much as I have to do to make it. Well, that's unacceptable to me because I have a family I want to spend time with. So that's an unacceptable goal. So we set our goals for what we want. And I think a lot of people just absorb their goals from society and culture, is my thoughts on that. Yeah, Carla said, who's this Jonathan? I need the diet. But again, Carl, you already know the diet. I promise you. Okay, you're in your 30s. All right. So, it's up to you. Again, it's the which path you want to ride in your life, Yeah, it's just hard because I got treated so much differently when I was my thinnest. Yeah, but what happened when you were just thin? Do you know what I mean? Like, what about Carla opening up the door to, because again, we tend to think in black and white. Most people do just in general. But for you keep referencing back to your thinnest. But what would happen if you were 10 pounds heavier than your thinnest? Maybe then you wouldn't feel absolutely horrible. And how much different would you get treated if you were 10 pounds heavier than your thinnest? In what way are you getting treated differently if you're 10 pounds heavier than your thinnest? And by who? Ronnie says strategies on how to view pleasure days as a mental break and not a binge. However, I will say that the more I fix my gut microbiome, the less I want to go crazy on these foods. Yep. But Diet Mind has me thinking about the eat now or else you won't be able to eat it until next week notion. Well, but listen, Ronnie, it's like the Diet Mind comes up and we don't have to just like resist it all the time. A lot of times we transmute it. Okay. And so, you can say, yeah, I can eat it now or else I won't be able to until next week. So that's okay too. I'm going to have it next week. And if I stop now, I'm going to feel better, So I think, again, the strategy of how to view the pleasure days as a mental break and not a binge is to focus on how you want to feel during your pleasure days. So I ask you, Ronnie, how do you want to feel on your pleasure days? And I'm going to assume you don't want to feel stuffed and like shit and like you ate too much and gross. So that's the strategy to change that up. Tina, okay, I got the email. Good. Tina said, I got fat shamed for having rolls when I sit. I thought most people do anyways. Well, Athena, that's crazy. Who fat shamed? Good Lord. What would they say to you? It's one of the remaining biases that's acceptable in this culture. It makes me crazy. But yeah, I would say most people have some rolls when you sit down. It's called skin, But again, I mean, like we can get I get it, right? We've all done this where it's like we get these crazy ideas what we think because we look at crazy people. I mean, again, it's just we look at people their whole life. A lot of times people get photographed. Their entire life is getting photographed and looking really, really abnormally under thin, being too thin. And on top of that, they're photoshopped. It's layers on top of layers of not reality. And then we get to reality and we feel bad about ourselves. It's a crazy world we live in, I'm sorry that happened to you, Athena. That sucks. KT, I plan to, just not sure if I'll join the regular one of the boot camp. Yeah, KT, I'll help you figure that out. Like I said, I got information coming out and registration up this week and then you decide. And I think you're going to love both of them. So it just depends on which one's the better fit. But yeah, super excited. So do these for now. But like I said, I'll get you in there quick because we'll get you started with it. Either one. Also, do you think skinny shaming is a thing? Like I just can't even compare the two. No, I don't think they're a thing. I think they're totally different. And I think they both exist. I don't think it's like skinny shaming. It doesn't seem like shaming. It almost, I don't want to get into all that stuff, but I definitely think that there's biases on both, but they're different. It seems to me, but I'm not a master of those. Jonathan says, do you ever get the egg ick? I sometimes get so sick of them. I don't eat enough eggs to get the egg ick. So, but I could see how you would. Yeah. Cause it's weird to eat too many eggs and I've done that in my life. So yes, I guess I have actually. I find that only eating yolks on the weekends helps a lot with that. And then egg whites, I don't get any. I don't get any ick with egg whites. I could eat egg whites all day long, every day. I think I don't, but I could. I like them, and they're so kind of benign for me. Carla says, I guess as a woman, you just get different attention from men. It's kind of sad. I wish I could just want to do this for myself and myself only. Well, yeah, but again, this is the part that I think a lot of people just fall into without really taking a step back and decide if they want it. Is that the attention you want? Like, is that the attention you want from men? Because I mean, let's talk like adults here. If like, if you want to be super skinny to the way you're thinking of, you're looking, you're wanting, you're targeting a specific type of attention that is literally based on it's very superficial. It's literally based on how you look. Right. And so do you want that attention from that? So it's like, I kind of hear both things, I kind of hear yourself like, and I wouldn't understand it, but you get different attention from men. Is it attention you crave? Is that the attention you want? Is that the attention that fulfills you and you want to build your life on? That's my question. And if it is, that's one thing. And if it isn't, then that's another thing. But that's the question I would ask. And it says, is it bad that I use the drastic water weight gain after my pleasure day binges as a reason to not want to do them like that? I mean, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's going to be all that effective because, you're kind of bullshitting yourself. So I would rather look for, when you overeat unhealthy foods on your pleasure days, 6 seconds after you take the last bite, how do you feel physically, mentally, emotionally? I would rather use that as leverage than like, oh, it's what's water weight. And I'm just going to, I don't think that's going to be as powerful. Carrie says, skinny people can also be so unhealthy. I wish people that fat shame would realize how ignorant they are. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 1,000%. So I don't get, it's funny. I always said that like my whole career, it's always been helping overweight people lose weight, and getting on social media, kind of open yourself up to the other side of the weight issue, which I'd never deal with. I don't deal with disordered eating. That's not my thing. But do have some thoughts on it, so I just share those. Yeah, feta cheese. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, feta cheese is a healthier cheese. So Jonathan says, not a fan of cheese. It's so delicious. Yeah, no, I used to eat a lot more cheese than I do, but I mean, like, go read about milk and cheese and what it does to your body. And I don't know. So for me, once I realized that, it changed the way I thought about cheese. Like once I really like kind of thought about what it is and what it does to me. And I don't know. I just feel different. Maybe I'm a person who's a little lactose intolerant or something. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Is it delicious? I like cheese sometimes too. So I'm gonna say like it's not. It is. I do that with the food in general. I find myself, and this is an upgraded thing I've done to myself. I feel like I rarely describe foods as being like so amazing or so delicious. You know what I mean? I really try to keep them in their category, of whatever. Because food in general, I mean, we want it, we crave it in its natural way. But it's like, the way we think about food is so unnatural, right? The foods we're eating are so unnatural. Do you know that, right? Like even, and I think too, I think the food's addictive. Like it's literally addictive. It's engineered to be addictive, no doubt. But I also think the bigger part of it is the conditioning mentally that we're constant. I mean, you don't realize it because you're just surrounded by you can't appreciate it. But I mean, my entire life, it has been like, we've seen tens of millions of food ads in our lives, So it's like, it's constantly being reinforced to how delicious the food is, how delicious the cheese is, how delicious this is, how delicious this is. And it's like, without any of that, like even if you had delicious food, you would eat it. Oh my God, this is really good. And then it would fade away. But we live in a world where it's constantly being reinforced commercially and environmentally. You're always around these foods. And so I think if you subtracted those, all of a sudden you start to see it more accurately. It's not as addictive as it seems, but it is, but it's a lot of it's mental and a lot of it's like psychological conditioning being done on you. And I've done a lot of work against that. So yeah, cheese is good. I like it. I've liked cheese as much as the average person, but I've done a lot of work on cheese and how I think and feel about it. And now I consume way less of it. And that's a huge, way to manage your weight. Yeah, this is Jim hating on you 20-year-old guys. And I'm not hating on them. I was there too, but I was different because but I always feel like I had I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the word would be. I had like the personal development, like anvil dropped on my head when I was 19, and I had it dropped on my head in a bunch of different ways all at once. And I was out of control. So it was like the way things happen for me just seems again, I always say this, I feel like the luckiest person on the planet, but like the way things happen to me, I was able to change because I was a madman. I was a madman at 19 years old. But 20-year-old guys, they just got, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, they got a lot of energy and they can get focused in on things and take a lot of action. They're not real good at taking instruction on average. Again, I'm not saying everyone, but on average. So, and it's kind of bears out true, right? Because every of the younger guys that's here, listen, they're all kind of extremer. They're all or nothing guys. I don't know. I think younger people are all or nothing more in general. Because again, you know, you don't have fully developed prefrontal cortexes, first of all. So anatomically, you're not really usually ready for that. And for me, I look back on it and I developed it because I did tons and tons of meditation and yoga and hypnosis and a lot of stuff that the average person's not doing. But even still over time, I mean, how I started at 20 and how I ended at 30, oh, it was very different. And a lot of that is just physical. So, but yeah, Carrie says the younger you can learn the truth, the better off they'll be. Absolutely. So it's really less important to me what these guys do. Even Jonathan, for example, that's why I said, go knock yourself out, you know, restrict. Who gives a shit? Because it doesn't matter to me. You know, it's like, again, whether good things go right or wrong is really irrelevant as long as you're learning from them. And I know the fact you guys are even listening to me, these ideas are in your head now. You know what I mean? And it's hard to move back from them, you know? Carl says, I totally understand you. Yeah, I guess it's not the kind of attention I want from my future husband, for example. I want to be valued for other things. It's just different for me. Hard to explain. Just want to be accepted by everyone when I leave the house. I know it sounds weird. It doesn't sound weird at all, Carla. I want to be crystal clear about that. And the fact that you can't put words to the feelings isn't weird either. That's how most of us operate. We're just run emotionally by vague ideas and thoughts that don't make logical sense. So join the club, Carla. You know, we're all in the same boat. But I think the more you reflect on that idea, I think the more enlightened you become, because you just kind of summed it up. But I want to be accepted by everyone. Well, you're not going to be accepted by everyone ever. You could be as skinny as you've ever been. You're not going to be accepted by everyone, because then there's the people that don't like that you're too skinny. So what do you do then? Just say, fuck them. They don't count to me. And so it's an opportunity to reflect on your own values. And again, the idea that you want to be accepted by people, you're looking for people to, you feel best when people think you look great when you feel your worst. So you should write that down and reflect on that. And ask yourself the question, if I continue to value this and feel this way for the next 30 years, where do I think my life's going to go? And then reflect another part that you wrote, that I guess it's not the kind of attention I want from my future husband. And again, maybe you're not in a future husband mode. Maybe you're just in mode where all you want is compliments from guys. All you want is guys to hit on you and try to have sex with you. That's all I want. And I will let you know that your weight is not the main thing. You being 10 pounds heavier than your lightest, you being 10 pounds heavier than your lightest weight. What people are not going to give you attention now that you give a shit about? Those are probably the most toxic people you could imagine. Can you imagine though? Like, I want everyone to think about this. Think about being at your thinnest, and imagine you had an issue with it at some point and you feel your worst when you're at your thinnest. And then imagine being 10 pounds heavier than that. And now think of the people that will still think you're too big at that weight. And now think of those people. And now imagine basing your life decisions around getting validation from those people. Right? And now Carlos says, wow, that sounds horrible now that you say it. I know. And you don't really think about that. That's why I try and say, like a lot of people, we're living our lives on autopilot. We're not taking a step back and really reflecting on the beliefs and ideas that we are living our whole lives on. That's crazy reality right now, is we've had so many shitty ideas pumped into our head from birth that we never get a chance to really take a step back and reflect on what we actually want, you know, and what's going to serve us best, you know? Carl says, I used to be with this guy and he would make me step on the scales whenever he thought I looked a little bigger. Well, great, Carla, right? That's what you're looking for. That sounds great. I'm being sarcastic, obviously, and I'm not making light of it because I get it. You know, yeah. I hope this guy's on a watch list somewhere. But women, it's up for you. Listen, culture ain't changing. Okay, the culture is not going to change fast enough for you. You've got to change quick. The culture is going to remain being toxic and shitty. It's up to you to wake up from it and realize, oh my God. You know, but Carla, like what you've been saying is exactly to get more and more of that, you know, which I'm not judging. If that's what you want, that's fine. I'm not judging being in a relationship where the guy makes you get on a scale when you look a little bigger. If that's what you want, that's up to you. It's not my relationship. You do what you want to do. So if you like that sort of control, some women do. Some men do. And you perfect relationship. But if you don't like that, if you don't like feeling your worst, if you like always feeling bad about yourself, if you don't like feeling your value is completely, almost exclusively because of your weight, then I would suggest you take a step back and start to reflect, you know? And what I will say to you is, Carla, let me sum up what I'm telling you in a way that everyone's going to get some value from. And I think it'll kind of wake you up a bit and give you an alternative way of thinking about things. But I would suggest that instead of just focusing on the weight being the primary factor of who's going to like you and how attractive you are and how your life's going to go, I would start to think of the weight being a way to be the best Carla possible. Who's the best Carla possible? And I bet when you think of the best Carla possible, I hope it's not just like what you look like or a number on a scale that you imagine. I hope it's you doing things you like to do, being with people you enjoy being around, feeling loved genuinely for who you are, being interesting, laughing, looking forward to things, doing things that interest you, right? That's what I'm assuming you want. And so let the goal not be a number on a scale, but let it be who's the best Carla I can possibly imagine. And I think when you start to think of yourself that way, you're naturally going to, in your mind, imagine different relationships and different guys that you want to be attracted to you and that are attracted to you when you're this inside out Carla you want to be, not just, this shell of a person who looks a certain way, Yeah. It says, no, I didn't like it. Just thought it means all guys secretly think I'm not thin enough. Not true. Not true. That's what that guy thought, but at the same time, Carla, you attracted that into your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, right? If we're just obsessed with being as thin as we can possibly be, what do you think you're going to get? Because like, honestly, like if you see a bodybuilder or someone who's too thin, I think, to me anyways, and it's not the same, I will be clear, but for me, I have a similar reaction on both of them, that they care a little bit too much about how they look. So it's like the bodybuilder, their entire life is built around looking that way. Like their meals, their protein, their sleep, their working out, all of it's built to look that way. And so how much time's left to like put it doing other stuff? I'm not judging a book by its cover completely, because I know a lot, I've met a lot of these guys and they're super smart. And so I know, but that's just an instinctual reaction I have a lot of times. And then the other side is the two thing. Like that's got to be really important to them, because you can tell how much time they're putting into it, and it's an extreme, it's an outlier thing. And that sends another signal. And I don't know if it's the one you want to send, It says, you're a very smart guy. I'm shocked. I rarely meet men like this. Well, I am an outlier, man. That is true. But I say this to you because I want to speak for men, because I think a lot of women walk around thinking like all men only care about what a woman looks like and their weight. And I can tell you 1000% that's not true. And I say this regularly to women, they can't believe it, but you're not like, I'm going to assume, and I shouldn't assume, we know how that is, but if you think of a guy being like the most beautiful, built, muscular, cut, good looking, perfect hair guy, like, again, it's appealing in one sense, right? Like it's like, oh, that's nice. And you notice it, but is that a guy you'd be attractive to? You know what I mean? Maybe or maybe not. Because maybe you say, no, I care more about, right? So they're the most beautiful human man on the planet. You like men, most beautiful man on the planet, but the personality is kind of missing a little bit. That's enough for you though, right? And you're going to say, no, guys are the same way. A little less so, I will grant you that. Okay. But guys still care about who the person is. It's been my overwhelming experience with the guys I've known. Okay. Again, not to say there aren't superficial people. There's obviously superficial men and women, no doubt. Is that who you want to appeal to though? That's what I always say. And so, I like to think of like, again, if all you care about is your weight, you're going to attract people that only care about weight. And when you start to care about more, not being your thinnest, but being thin and healthy, being thin and happy, being thin and feeling absolutely fucking amazing, I think that's going to put you in position to have a much better relationship and have a much better quality of life as you get older. That's a belief I have, Carla says, yeah, I guess the best version of me isn't just my looks. It's so much more. Exactly, Carla. And so when you start thinking about this is where I think this becomes the foundation for you to build your weight mastery on. Okay. And I think you'll find that you've been aiming at a weight goal that isn't good. You said it. You said my weight goal is when I feel the worst. So again, just to reframe that just a little bit, subconscious, you've been thinking, I want to be at the weight that makes me feel my worst because that's when I'm perceived to have the highest value. But that's only within a certain context to certain people. Because some people are going to see that and say, they're living at a weight where they feel horrible. It's too superficial. I want someone with more depth. I want someone who's much more, because I know there's much more to you in there, And so you make that decision first, start living that way, and you project out in the world. And I think you'll see it comes back to you in a whole new way, where you won't get a fucking asshole who makes you stand on the scale if you're a little bigger. I hope, Carlos says, you're right, but looks do matter too. It's both. I don't even need the muscles. I think skinny men are better, but honestly, you have an amazing point. Looks aren't everything when I look at others. Exactly. I always find it so funny to me that hits women so hard. And I think that's a cultural thing where we're just like, oh, guys just care about looks. And I think it's true. I think guys do care about looks more than women do generally, but they don't just care about looks. I of course, I've known a few guys that are like that, and they're complete fucking assholes. And women like that, right? Again, superficial people, like really superficial people generally, we're kind of like, you're a fucking asshole. That's how I feel anyways. I rarely have met an extremely superficial person I really like that much. And I'm fine with that though. I just I'm not going to live my whole life to appeal to them. I'm not letting them set the rules. Go find your skinniest person on the planet. Go find your most muscular person on the planet. I'm not that. And that's okay. There's 8 billion people on the planet. I don't need to appeal to everyone. I need to appeal to one person, the person who loves me, so that's all that matters. But I get what you're saying. And I think looks do matter. I'm not saying looks don't matter, but what I'm saying to you, Carl, is you being 5-10 pounds heavier than your skinniest weight, how much worse do you think you look? And now that gets in a whole other different conversation, which is an important one, I think, probably for you to have, if I had to guess, in terms of dysmorphia shit. But if you just think about looks, you're going to trap yourself. And if you think about Carla, the best version of Carla possible, you free yourself instantly. They're two completely different mindsets, and they nowhere do they meet. So the more you start thinking about me being the best version of Carla possible, you start to tap into your real humanness, your power, your potential, everything that's good about you. And you instantly start to think of yourself in a more holistic way, looks included, right? Again, my goal for people is I want you to master your weight, but I don't want the weight be the main thing. I want you to focus on being the best version of yourself possible. And the weight's one piece of that, because you are the best version of you possible when you are at a certain weight. You have some idea in your head. It's a range, but I know for me to be my best, I need to weigh a certain thing. And it's not because of how I look. It's because I know that at this weight, I feel lighter. I'm more energized. I like the way I eat. I like the way I'm living. Everything is just like flowing. I like how I look too, but honestly, like if I really just cared about how I look, I would probably add 15 pounds of muscle. Like if I just cared about how I look, I would be in the gym 10, 15, 20 more pounds of muscles. But I do care how I look in a very general sense, but it's a minor thing. And I suggest this to all you, because as much as you all want to look better, it ain't enough motivation. It's not enough motivation. And if you don't believe me, why do you think you're not getting the results you want? If you think it is. So Carlos says, yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, men do seem to have huge standards, but it makes sense to look at Victoria's Secret and CoverGirl and the Kardashians, all that stuff. Yeah, but Carl, again, only some guys look at that shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. There's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of people. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And I think what media does is it homogenizes our thinking. So we think, oh, that's what's attractive. What one thing, that weight's attractive? It's bullshit. There's too many people on the planet. People like different things. And so, yes, some people like Victoria's Secret models, and a lot of people don't want to live with a Victoria's Secret model, be in a relationship with them, and there's lots of different people out there. And so you have to ask yourself, what am I looking to attract? And I think that's a very sobering question, Thea says, can you speak a little more about the cheese thing? Why is it bad? It's not, I'm going to say cheese is bad, but I'm going to say cheese is an extremely calorie dense food. Okay. So if you care about your weight, cheese is going to be a challenge because it's addictive for most people and it's extremely calorie dense. On top of that, for a lot of people, it's inflammatory. And so, there's a lot of downsides to milk in terms of the weight loss piece. Again, you're not a baby calf. Milk is designed for baby cows to become adult cows in a year. So, you're not a baby cow, and drinking this much milk and eating this much cheese is weird. It's not natural. It's become more natural because we've done it for so long, but half the population of the world can't even digest milk. Do you know that? Like almost 100% of Asians and 75% of African Americans can't even digest milk. They're lactose intolerant. So, again, it's very calorie dense. That's the big thing. And I believe it's inflammatory. It's inflammatory for me, but it may or may not be for you. You know what I mean? Carla says, am I the problem here? Yeah, Carla, you are the problem here. I mean, society is the problem, right? Society should just be like, oh, every person's valuable regardless of their weight and everyone's beautiful. I mean, that's what society should be doing, but that ain't the society we live in. And so the only thing we have control over what's going on in our mind. And so, yeah, you're the problem, which is also you're the problem. You're also the solution, though, is the good side of that. Okay. But we're all always the best, or, we're always either the problem or the solution, depending on how we're using our mind, Moses says, I feel like many dudes want to be thin without the muscles. Oh, okay. That's kind of me. I mean, I like more muscle, like I want to lift weights for functional reasons though, and again, we'll see where I'm at. I was doing pretty well. This is a couple of years ago. I messed my shoulder up and it's thrown everything off muscle wise, but the muscle's really important to me, especially as I would turn 50 here. It's really important to me. And so I'm hoping my shoulder gets fixed up so I can take it on, but I don't give a shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to sit here and lie to you and say, like, I don't care how I look. I do. But again, it's a minor motivator compared to all the other things. And I think that's the proper way to do it. And I think, what do I mean by proper? I think effective. I think you all just want to lose weight to look better, and you're not losing weight because it's not a big enough motivator for you. Yeah. Campbell says that. Yep. That wisdom comes with age. Give him another 10, 15 years to get there. For sure. That is true. Age does give you some wisdom, potentially. Because I work a lot of people are missing a lot of it. Moses said, when I lost 60 pounds from carnivore, I was skinny and I loved it. That would be my ideal body. Yeah, well, the good news is, I mean, again, my ideal body has always been a slimmer one, and I'm not a muscular person to begin with. I have a slimmer build, but I'm lazy. You know what I mean? Like I try and tell you guys this. I'm not a willpower machine. I'm a lazy machine who's extremely strategic. And I remember literally 30 years ago thinking, okay, I'm going to get this weight under control. And I'm like, and the first thought came to my head, okay, I started working out. Like, I'm not doing it through working out. I hate it. So I'm going to do it through eating. If I can control my eating, that's the easiest thing. And that's what I've done. I haven't consistently worked out for any real period of time. Even just now when I was talking about, I had some things going on. It was very minimal, body weight type stuff that I was starting to implement in, and I was getting pretty consistent with it. But then my shoulder got hurt and threw me off track with it, Oops. Oh. Yeah, Carrie says black and white to me is the same as all or nothing. Yeah, agreed. KT says, Moses, wow, how is carnivore? I can't imagine doing that. It's so much meat. Yeah, Moses says it was insane. I have no idea how I did it. Did it for months on end, and then at my goal weight started binging and gained everything back. And again, right? I mean, that's just the story. That's the weight loss story in this world, is do something extreme for a little while, lose the weight, put it back on because you can't keep it up, HG says, what are some activities you recommend to move away from boredom eating? Well, HG, this is where it gets really fun. I love that question, because like for you, HG, what do you like to do? What are some hobbies you want to do or that you used to do and you kind of fallen away? This is what I'm talking about. This is take the weight loss, rapid and personal development. This is the core of it right here, that your boredom eating is killing you guys because you're fucking bored out of your minds because you don't do anything interesting. Start doing interesting things and you will be shocked. It's transformative. And again, it's different for each person. I like playing guitar. I like playing basketball. I like drawing. I like, I want to play the piano. I like playing with my dog. I like playing with my kid. I like playing games, like watching shows. Like, I don't know, like there's a million things. I like doing my lawn. I like doing chores around the house. I don't know, like I could just keep going on. And there's a million more things I want to do. I like doing yoga. I want to do more and more and more stuff at higher and higher levels, but there's no limit to it, And so to you, I ask you, what are things that are, so I'll give you, I just with my client of mine, write down 10 things you would like to do and not like big things like I like going on a world, Europe vacation, but like 10 things you'd like to do if you had 3 hours available during the day. It's not expensive. It's not a big trip. It's not a big commitment. But what are 10 things you would like to do? Write that list down, start doing them, and notice how much different you feel. You know what I mean? So Cara says you're everything but lazy. You do so much on here. I watched your content. I'm amazing how you manage everything. Fair enough. I'm not a lazy person. You're right. I am not a lazy person, but when it comes to the weight piece, I'm extremely lazy. And what I mean by that is that it's not just, it's just, there's other things in my life that I struggle a bit to get myself to do. The eating was a very difficult change, but I didn't change my eating through willpower. I changed it through strategy and mindset. And even the working out thing has been something I haven't been able to get myself to do consistently for 30 years. Now I got different motivations now, but but work wise, no, it would not appear that I'm lazy, but that's because you guys, of course, it seems like I'm not lazy because you're seeing the what I'm producing here and what I'm doing. But what you don't see is behind the scenes, and it's all my weight and my work are just their consequences of my strategies. And so again, so yeah, I'm not really lazy, but I'm not. I don't know. We'll get into the word lazy, but it's more strategic than it is like willpower. I guess that's more what I'm talking about. Julie says, my boyfriend didn't care after I lost 85 pounds, other than he was happy I had the energy to play golf and not as moody. Yeah, we probably got a winner there then. That's probably a good sign. Jim says, I need some advice, Jim. How do you go about my dad inviting me to barbecue next week? I'm spiraling because I already managed to lose some weight. I know how much this matters to him. Of course, I want to go, but how do I do this in moderation? I'm scared. So, KT, this will be a good example of why these guys should be in the program because they ask questions like this, which we deal with within about 2 seconds in the program, because the core of the program is really built around the program yourself then method, which is the redo rehearsal technique. And so Jim is already rehearsing this barbecue, and he's rehearsing himself overeating and eating all the shit and gaining a bunch of weight. And so now he's freaking out about it. He's scared. He's spiraling, right? So he's going to have a week ahead of him where he spirals and feels scared and nervous, practices and imagines he overeats everything at the barbecue. And then he will go into the barbecue and probably overeat, put some weight on, feel like shit, and it'll just become this downward spiral. Now, luckily, I'm here for Jim. Even though Jim and I had a tough start. I don't know if Moses and I had a tough one too. So these young guys are full of piss and vinegar and they don't like to hear that diets don't work, but then they come around, you know what I mean? But so Jim, what I will tell you is that you're already, again, in the program, we call this the rehearsal technique. We always do the rehearsal technique, by the way. So when I teach you how to do the redo rehearsal, I'm not so much teaching you how to do it. I'm teaching you how to do it intentionally. Because Jim here is already doing the rehearsal technique. He keeps imagining in vivid detail how much he's going to eat and fuck up at the barbecue, and then he's going to gain weight and feel terrible. And so he's got a whole week of anxiety and stress and fear that's probably going to affect his eating this week. And then next week he's going to go and overeat and then feel like, oh, what's the point? So in Program Yourself, then we would do something like, who do you want to be at the barbecue? How do you want to eat at the barbecue, Jim? A question he has not asked up until this point. And the answer to that question is going to dictate where you go from there. So Carrie says, go into it feeling confident in your decision and be proud of your progress. We'll get Carrie. I'm supposed to give him the answer. Look at KT. KT already dropping wisdom. Yeah, you can still go just eat before, have some food at the barbecue, just not a ton, you'll be fine. And then Jim says, thanks. Yeah, I will try. It's just hard when there's literally only junk food there. Yeah. And again, Jim, I mean, there's other strategies, but those are really good ones, I think. And don't try, do, right? What did Yoda say? There is no try, do or do not. There is no try. But again, even if you walk into a place where it's only junk food, again, I walk into a place that I only junk food feeling satisfied because I ate before there. So I think KT's right on the money there. And then you eat some food. And then there's the mindset piece of realizing that it's one day. One day of overeating junk food is the equivalent of one day of eating great on a diet. It means fucking nothing. So there's another piece. Carrie says, looks are relative also. Not everyone looks at one person and thinks the same. Thank you, Carrie. Yes. Right. We all know this, right? Again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So find someone who thinks you're beautiful. That's what I would suggest. I would much rather focus on being the best version of me and then my weight being whatever that weight is when I think I'm at my best. And then I would want someone to think that that version of me was the most beautiful thing they'd ever seen. That's how I would like to set things up, as opposed to trying to be some arbitrary sense of what beauty is. And again, ironically, what you're doing is you're picking the people you probably dislike the most, right? You're picking the most superficial people you can think of. I'm gonna say the Kardashians. Okay, there we go. If you're like always, if you're thinking like a Kardashian, good luck. Have fun. You know, you're always going to feel less than, and you're always judging and comparing and feeling worse. It's superficial, you know? So that's a path. I'm not judging it. It is what it is. But, you know, I would much rather want to find someone who's, you know, likes me for the way I look, you know what I mean? Doesn't care if I put a couple pounds on or off, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want my relationship to be based on that, but to each their own, you know? Yeah. What about goat cheese? Yeah, goat cheese is another one, Rebecca. Thank you for saying that, actually. I know, and I didn't answer the question. Like I said, I didn't, to me, it's not an easy question because I think about a little more detail. But yeah, just in general, healthier cheeses in general, feta cheese, goat cheese, um, those are better ones, supposedly. Yeah, Jim says, Carrie, no, I just mean it's very calorific, especially ribs with sauce and hot dogs and stuff. Yeah. So true. We should not be consuming dairy for the most part. I mean, I feel that way. I'm not saying you have to feel that way, folks, but if you're coming from a long, if you come from a long line of like Nordic dairy farmers, you know, maybe then cheese reacts different in your body and then eat away. But for the average person, I find that you should really consider, is milk helping me or hurting me? Once I considered it was very clear that the milk I was consuming, the dairy I was consuming wasn't helping me. You know, which isn't, I'm not all or nothing with that. I still consume dairy occasionally, but I really very little of it. And that's a huge part. I think my body runs way more efficiently. My body, you know, so I'm not saying yours will, but you know. Yeah, Jim says, I know, Carrie. It's just my mindset's all or nothing, unfortunately, still. Yes. I told you that these young guys are all or nothing thinkers, and it's hard not to. Again, I mean, the good news is your prefrontal cortex hasn't really fully developed yet. So, you know, you still got time, you know, but it's what you know too, because as you see, you know, there's people getting older just as much that way. Oh, look at Carrie. What are you, a hypnotist? Each meal, your confidence will grow and you can walk away with happiness from dad and you. That's a good one, Carrie. I like that. That's good. John said, wow, we're 2 hours live. Jesus Christ, what am I doing? I got to get out of here. I gotta go eat a salad. Yeah, Rebecca. I agree with Rebecca. I like to pre-eat. I would absolutely pre-eat would be a big, again, it's always mindset and strategy are what cause you to succeed or fail in life. And I think going into this barbecue situation, it's mindset and strategy. And so the strategy I rely on most is I would go in, I'd pre-eat an hour before, probably some really healthy shit, go in there feeling pretty satisfied, knowing I was going to eat some stuff, but I know that I'm not going to go crazy because I've set myself up. And then my mindset, I'd be practicing, rehearsing how I wanted to be there and how I wanted to leave and feel. You know? See, there goes Jim. Yeah, but if I eat before, then I eat even more calories. No, you don't, Jim. Because if you don't eat before, you're really hungry, walk in there and you're going to overeat things that are high calorie. If you walk into that place having nourished yourself with some really high quality nourishing food, that by definition is way low calorie density. And so, yes, you've eaten some calories, but you're walking in there feeling way less hungry. And now you're going to consume a lot less calories at the barbecue. That's the theory anyways, you know? Yeah, low fat feta too. Yep, for calcium. Yep. Satan says, how do I eat arugula? It's so bitter. I tried to make a salad with it and it was so strong. Yeah, you might be a hyper taster. So, you know, maybe arugula is not the green for you. That is one of the pepperier, more bitter greens. So, you know, pick a different green. You don't have to eat arugula. There's nothing magical about arugula. Pick a more, you know, baby spinach. You know, there's other leaves that are a lot less, a lot more neutral. All right, everyone. That's awesome. Yeah, 2 hours. How to do it. All right, very good. Yeah, I got to get out of here. But yeah, if you're not in my world, make sure you go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session I give you, watch the video I made for you. They're all free. Read the emails I send you. And on the bottom of those emails for the next week or so here, you can get on the wait list for the boot camp that's kicking off September 1st, which is going to be something else. So if you're really looking to make a big ass commitment, to your weight over the next 4 months, kick off 25 lighter and in control of your weight, your lifestyle and your mindset, that's gonna be a program for you. So sign up for that wait list and you'll get more information on that. Like I said, registration will open for that this week. The podcast is Program Yourself Thin. It's on all the podcast platforms. We do this live every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noontime. So feel free to hop on there, ask whatever questions you got. And yeah, anything else? Oh yeah, follow me, right? If you just landed on here magically and you're enjoying it, make sure you follow me, because then you'll get my videos and things like that release when I release them. So anyways, all right, everyone, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a super duper day and we'll talk soon. Bye.